Cryptid Encounters. How's everybody doing here tonight? Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to Spiritual and DDN Cryptid Encounters Open Mic Night, where members of Spiritual and DDN Cryptid Encounters can come on and jump on here, share a story, or we could talk about anything dealing with the spiritual, cryptid, or anything of that nature. I hope everybody is having a wonderful evening tonight. I'm your host, Dave Cias. For those tuning in on Restream, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Running a little bit late tonight, brothers and sisters. I was having some technical difficulties with the services here, dealing with my routers and trying to get everything lined up. But I've got everything squared up with the Wi-Fi. Let me share out this live feed to the groups that allow me to share on Facebook. Here we go. There we are. We're all shared out. Here's Spiritual and Cryptid Encounter. What do we got here? Sorry to hear that, what you're going through, man. You got to be alert at all times. I've seen it happen. I've seen the drunk drivers sometimes back when I'd be traveling out of town, where you could see them coming in a distance and they're soaring all over the road, just literally going side to side, covering all the highway, and it's kind of like playing jump rope. You got to wait for the right moment to make your move to pass them up. Because if you stay on the side of the road, they might hit you. There's one of the things, and sometimes they're going pretty fast and they're just soaring back and forth. I've seen somebody asleep behind the wheel early in the morning, and they were asleep behind the wheel of a truck, and they had to be going over 90 miles, about 100 miles an hour. And I guess he soared off the road. It flipped into an open field, went over the barbed wire, knocked down some mesquite trees, and the truck caught on flame. Hi, Michelle. How you doing, Sister Edna Wilson? Yeah, I don't drive motorcycles, man. Those are dangerous. Anything with no seatbelt is dangerous. course, the tanks. When I was in the military, there's no seat belts in no tanks. Uh, Especially if you're in a rollover in the tank. The tank weighs 65 tons. If you're in a rollover in the tank, man, it's not a good thing. It's 65 tons. There's no seat belt. There's nothing to protect you. You got the turret moving. You can get crushed by the turret itself if it's going up and down. You get the holes, the loader's hatch and the driver's hatch. As you close them, so you won't fall out of the holes. But yeah, it's very dangerous. Well, that's good, man. Get something out of it. I had my brother-in-law passed away. I had a brother-in-law that passed away from a car wreck. He literally went. He was a big guy, and he went through the windshield. Nobody knew that he had gone through the windshield. Uh, it's kind of like he was just standing there talking, but he didn't make no sense of what he was saying. He was standing barefooted out of the vehicle where all the other spectators were, trying to figure out what was going on. The air backed him, but he didn't make it. It was a bad accident. Scrolling through YouTube. Yeah, I hadn't been feeling well there. I didn't get to do no workout today. I was feeling some pain on my shoulder, so I took it easy today. Hopefully, I'll feel better tomorrow. My wife already told me she want to go dancing. Yesterday, I couldn't even lift my arm. I can lift my arm today, but yesterday, I don't know what happened to my arm, but it was just hurting. I couldn't even lift my arm at all. Then this afternoon, this evening, I was having Wi-Fi problems. I found out that the main system was not working, and this other thing wasn't working, even though we still had internet, but it wasn't working how it's supposed to be working. So I said, let me nick that in the bud before I even start live, or else I'm going to have all kinds of technical difficulties. Hopefully, when people click on the link tonight, uh, they'll be able to connect onto the live. Well, at least you're okay, man. From the accident. Me personally, I wouldn't. I don't ride motorcycles, man. It's dangerous. I mean, shoot, I've had close calls behind the wheel, just driving a vehicle. I can only imagine how it is for a person riding a motorcycle, especially on the blind side. At the same time, there's some crazy drivers that are guys that ride motorcycles. They're driving recklessly, riding recklessly on the highway, going through all the lanes, through the side of the lanes, passing people through the shoulder and everything, driving recklessly. Then when they went up, you know, being in an accident or dead, you know, they want to blame somebody else, but they'll be driving recklessly down the highways, especially here in 35. I seen some earlier. They were driving like hell of a fast on the highway, soaring in between vehicles and just driving recklessly. It's crazy. I'm more sure cousin Gilbert seen those riders like this. He's a trucker. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop a link here for the members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. It is open mic night, spiritual and DDN Encrypted Encounters. Open mic night. There's a link. Oh, on a bike. Well, sorry to hear that. Exercise bike. I thought he was talking about a motorcycle. An e-bike. An exercise bike. An e-bike. Who do we got here? We got Sister Anna Wilson. We got cousin Gilbert, Duval, Andres Carizales. Oh, okay. I know which ones you're talking about. They got that like the little motor, the little like a gas tank on there. Like I don't know if it's a weed eater motor or what kind of motor, but they move pretty fast. Oh, electric. Never heard of an electric. Oh, the ones that they ride within the city, kind of like a scooter. I've seen some of those that they got downtown here in Temple. Yeah, you gotta be careful, man. Stay alert. Doesn't matter what you're driving. I've had some crazy accidents doing some crazy stuff, but it was just accidents, you know. When you're not paying attention, you might be focused on your phone. That's why a lot of people have accidents and stuff. They're on their texting on their phone and stuff, and they're trying to do other things at the same time, and that's when the accidents happen. You're paying too much attention to the phone, and that's when the accidents happen. It's when you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So how's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm gonna try to do an hour show tonight. You know, oh, yesterday was like about 2 hours and a half. You know, this is for people that want to jump on if they got something to say dealing with the spiritual, paranormal, anything dealing with spiritual, paranormal, that all falls together. And we get the disembodied demonic Nephilim, anything dealing with cryptid, or any kind of encounters that you've been through, that you've experienced, or things that have happened to you. You're more welcome to jump on and share your experience of whatever you've been through. Let me drop the link here again one more time. Yeah, I'm still having problems with the internet. It's showing me that I have like 2 bars for some reason. So let me check. I don't know if it's showing the bars because a lot of people using it, or what. Let me double check. No, yesterday we had a pretty good show. Saying everything is online. I guess it's working. I'm not sure. There's like 2 bars or something. Right now there was like 1 bar. Let me run a health check test on here. Let me double check over here. Ooh, almost lost everything. I don't know. I think Sister Brenda might be asleep. I know she wasn't feeling too well yesterday, so she might be sleeping. Yeah, if this continues, I'm just gonna have to call the people to come check out the wiring, put some new wiring or something to fix this problem that we're having. Yeah, yesterday's show was pretty good. We were talking about the DDN. Uh, Tonight is about whoever wants to share a story or an experience with the members of Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. You're more welcome to jump on. You know, I'm going to try to stay on for about an hour and a half, somewhere around there. See who jumps on here tonight. Thank you, Justin. God bless you too. Guess what we're waiting. I could probably play something for y'all. Here, let me look into the archives Maybe I can play a short reel or something, or short a video of one of the investigations that when I used to go investigate. Let me see what I can find for y'all. Yeah, the one from Chuckridge Falls was a crazy one, man. There's a lot of activity around me, so I might share that one right there. Let me share this one. I mean, why not? You know, if people want to jump on, they can jump on in a moment. Let me share a video from Chuckridge Falls in it's in Belton, Texas. You know, a lot of activity there at Chuckridge Falls. I don't know who that is. DS. Who's that? So let me share this live here for right now, temporarily. It's only like a 9 minute live. Oh man, how come it's doing that? Dang it. Hmm. Wow. Uh, yeah, I won't share it for right now. Let's see who this is. DS, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Alrighty.
Yeah, I clicked on your link. I figured you invited anybody who clicked on the link.
Yeah, well, normally I invite the members of Spiritual or Cryptid Encounters, but you know,
Yeah,
I seen you in the back, so I brought you in. How you doing, brother?
pretty good. How have you been?
Alrighty. Just taking it day by day, man.
Same here.
That's all we can do. You know, sometimes, you know, as we get older, we go through, aches and pains from what we've done in life, and that's what I've been going through. So with the weather here, it's hot today, but it was pouring and flooding all over the place the day before. So my right shoulder flared up on me, and I remembered how I hurt my shoulder. I just had forgotten. I gone to I think it was an estate sale, and I tripped over went upstairs and I tripped coming downstairs, and I ran into the wall.
Oh
Luckily,
my
I didn't
God.
break the wall, but that's how now I remember how I hurt my shoulder. I had forgotten, but I remember when that happened. That happened like about a month ago. So yeah, things tend to flare up when the weather, when it's raining or pouring outside or gets cold, you start feeling the aches and pains from injuries.
Yeah, I had similar things occur to me where I went down a series of steps and I missed the last step and I fractured my ankle
Ooh,
and I was able to recover and I was able to heal it naturally because I was afraid the doctor was just going to overdo it, charge me an arm and a leg, to put it mildly, and I was able to overcome it. I think I probably have more calcium in that ankle now as a result.
wow. Yeah, man, you got to be careful with them doctors because they want to put screws and bolts. And,
Yeah,
you
they would have
know,
put rods and all sorts of metal in my ankle, and I had a member of my family had the pin and I think a rod they put in his leg become infected, and they had to go in and do surgery to remove it. And now he's got to go back for a second surgery after they removed all the infection to put a new rod and pin in his or screw, I believe, in a rod back in his leg. So don't look forward. Can't imagine going through all that.
Yeah, I almost lost connection right now. I was telling the viewers that the reason I was running late is because uh, something is wrong with my connection. It's like I reset everything was working properly, and then as soon as I start doing this live, it's like it's trying to like boot me out. It almost booted me out right now. Well, so you healed it yourself. How'd you do that, brother? How'd you heal it?
I just basically kept doing some exercises on my own. I tried not to get laid up because of it, and I kept pushing through it. I'm sort of an avid walker, hiker, and I tried not to, in my mind, I kept having the suggestion in my mind, if you want to call it a suggestion, whereas my intention was I'll just take care of it. It'll be better and I'll get over it. And I kept telling myself that, and eventually it did heal. So I guess there is a power of the mind, if you want to call it mind over matter, or,
Yeah.
I think there is something definite to that. So, and I've seen your broadcast, your podcast before, but I've never decided to weigh in today. I thought, why not? You didn't look like you had, you were too busy. You said you had a few minutes left in the podcast, so I thought I'd at least weigh in and say hello.
Yeah, I just barely jumped on. I was telling the viewers that I was running late today. Normally I go live at 11, but I was having Wi-Fi issues. There was a storm that came through. It was just not working right. There was like the main box was not working properly, and some other modems wasn't working properly. So I had to figure out what's going on. The box, I had to reset it. I called the company to reset it, and then one of the modems over here, it's called EO something, and it was disconnected. So, one thing or another, and then I got everything going good, and so I started the live, and then I started noticing that it started going down low. So it could be just the area where I live.
Where do you live at? I mean, approximately
I
what?
live in Temple, Texas.
Oh, Temple, Texas. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I used to live in New Mexico, not probably too far from there. Up in
Yeah,
the
New
south.
Mexico. I used to go to. I knew somebody that lived in Hobbs, New Mexico.
Yeah, I've been past Hobbs. I used to live down by it's called Central. It's near Pinos Altos, which is sort of north of Deming by about 40 minutes north of Deming, New Mexico.
Yeah, I had a friend that served with me in the military that lived in New Mexico also, but he passed away. Matter of fact, here in Temple, he passed away. He was a
I'm
DJ.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he served with me in Operation Desert Storm. But,
So you're yeah. I would have been had I been enlisted, I would have been in Vietnam. I'm
Vietnam.
Yeah, I'm a baby boomer, I guess you'd call me. But
Baby boom.
yeah, baby boomer. Now, to me, that's a dumb name, but I still have a friend in New Mexico. I get in contact with him occasionally. You sort of sound like him. His name is Randy Yazzie, and every now and then I call him, and we sort of connect and talk about things regarding the cryptid subject, all the
You can talk
the
about
weird
whatever you want to talk about, brother. That's what I'm doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We talk about everything, but anybody who wants to talk about dealing with whether it be cryptid, spiritual, UFOs, aliens, you name it, whatever plethora or genre you want to talk about, you're more than welcome. I'm more sure you've seen activity in New Mexico.
Yeah, I
Dealing
had my
with
first. Yeah, I think that's why I like your show. I like your podcast because you talk about things that most people are afraid to talk about, or they're afraid they're going to be made fun of, or And as old as I am, I don't care anymore. I don't, I'm too old to worry about what people think, because appearances or opinions and what people think of you in the long run don't have any bearing on who you are, and what you do.
Yeah.
People are so worried about appearances and what people may perceive of them, and it's sort of
Yeah,
sad.
talk about touchy subjects that a lot of people want to talk about because they don't want to ruin their reputation, or they don't want to cross toes with their friends that are believing in other things. Here we talk about everything.
Well, that's
Uh,
good. That's good. I mean, that's what sort of I attracted. I actually, what I'll do is I'll go on to YouTube and I'll put in a search term, like cryptids or Bigfoot. And the last couple times I was on YouTube, I did that, and your podcast came up. And I listened for a while, and I thought, you know what? One of these days I'm going to call in. And I see you provided the link in chat. And I was
yeah.
like, you know what? Why not say hi at least? Give you guys my regards, say aho, and sort of connect with you guys. Sort of you're like-minded, like I am. I think I had my first experience regarding even cryptids uh, was in Illinois, where I'm from. But my
Illinois.
second experience was the year later when I moved to New Mexico. I had my probably that was my, if you want to call it life-changing or earth-shattering
Hmm.
one. That would have been it.
How old were you when you lived in Illinois? My think Andres is from Illinois. The guy here below us is from Illinois, and my uncle used to live in Joliet, Illinois.
Well, I'm originally from Joliet, strangely
Yeah.
enough.
Wait,
Yeah,
so wait,
I
you
was
said
born and raised there. I moved out of there when I was in my 20s, headed to New Mexico, moved back. Now I live in north of Peoria, Illinois, about 45 minutes north of Peoria. I'm up here in near LaSalle County, which is, for Illinois, LaSalle County probably has the highest numbers of Bigfoot encounter experiences according to the BFRO. And that's not counting the people that don't share their encounters. And in LaSalle County, a lot of people are, I put it this way, I sat on my experience for almost 30 years before I told my wife and my children that I had that experience in New Mexico and actually in Illinois, because I had nobody to talk to about it.
Yeah, man. Go,
YouTube
go ahead and
wasn't a
share your encounter. You can share your encounter. What you experienced. You were living in New Mexico. You say no, in Illinois, right?
Yeah,
No, New Mexico.
well, the New Mexico experience, that was the earth-shattering one. That happened in 1979, and I was a young man, and I drove a beer truck for Coors at the time. But I went out to the mountains and went hiking and set up a camp in near Mimbres, New Mexico, in the Black Range Mountains. And that night, that was actually, I got out there on a Saturday morning. And that Saturday night, I was surrounded by, I believe, 2 to 3 individuals. And I never got to bed that night. I ended up, never had a tent, but I ended up had a bedroll, just basically a sleeping bag and a blanket. And I was basically in kneeling position or crouching position uh, the whole night till 4:30 in the morning till the activity stopped.
So, what
And
kind of activity? Around what time frame did the activity start? And what was the activity that you were experiencing? At nighttime,
uh,
it was probably you're in an isolated location, so probably scary as hell, just being by
yeah,
yourself.
it was the first time I had been there, and I had researched it a little before I went. And
So
it's
you were just camping, or you go to locations where there's activity at that
no,
time.
no, I knew nothing about Bigfoot at the time. I just was, I basically was a minimum impact camper. I would take whatever's in my backpack. And
Hmm.
if I didn't have another person with me at the time, uh, I had my dog, which was, he was basically, he looked like he was all white, looked like basically a Siberian Husky, but he was all white, very similar to a Chow. And I took him with me, and I walked several miles down from this summit, which is an observation point in the Black Range, and I walked down to this valley below. And the whole premise of this camp out was just to get outdoors, do some camping. I'd already lived for several months in New Mexico, and I just liked the outdoors. So something I brought with me from living in Illinois. And I got, when I say surrounded, the time frame, it happened from, I'd say within minutes before complete darkness at sunset, just as the light was disappearing, and I'm camping in the valley below these mountain peaks, and I hear something walking down the side of the mountain toward my camp. And
Wow.
this happened at about, I want to say, 9:30, quarter to 10 at night. And I was on the other side of a stream or creek bed. And where this thing walked down the side of the mountain had to be 75, 80 feet from where my camp was set up, which was just a little campfire, my sleeping roll, my bedroll, and my dog right next to me. And I had hung my backpack up in a tree because of the black bears in the area. The guy I worked for on weekends warned me about black bears. And so he told me to take, not go alone, and I did take a gun with me. But when this thing came down the mountainside, I thought it was a person walking bipedally. And I even yelled out to it at one point when it was, like I said, you could barely see your hand in front of your face. And I yelled out, "Who is that?" And I heard it descend the bottom of the mountain into the creek bed, about 30 feet from my campfire. Walk across the creek bed. It was so obvious. It was like a person walking across the creek bed.
You heard the water splashing and everything?
Oh, yeah, it sounded like footsteps. And the water was probably, the creek bed was probably 15 feet wide by a couple inches deep of water. Just cold mountain water flowing. I believe I even gathered water from the creek bed that day. And I was like, this thing entered. And then the whole night till 4:30 the following morning, 4:30 a.m., all this thing did, and that's why I thought it was more than one, circled my camp just beyond my flashlight. This went on till from quarter to, I say 9:30, quarter to 10 p.m. till about 4:30 a.m. the next morning, just before it started getting
Did you
light.
hear any like rocks being thrown or
Oh, I could hear it
banging?
walking. I could hear it breathing like it had asthma.
Oh
I
wow!
I caught its silhouette at one point in my flashlight beam, where it was behind like a juniper, and I thought it was at first I thought it was a black bear standing on its hind feet. I thought it was a black bear standing up, and I just I was until later, after I had left and gone home, that I realized I had a Bigfoot encounter, and it was because of the guy I worked for on weekends. He had told me about Bigfoot, and that reminded me of the Patterson Gimlin film years, I'd say probably months later after that event. And I thought, there's no way this thing could have been in, when I said I was surrounded, at one point I thought it was in front of me, and within seconds I would hear it walking behind me, and it would be at all locations on the dial of a clock around me. So I came to the conclusion there must have been at least maybe two, maybe three of these individuals. And the profile I got, or silhouette I got of this thing behind a juniper tree with my flashlight, I could see parts of like a shoulder, parts of an upper thigh, and part of its head, which I immediately jumped to the conclusion it was a black bear, because my mind could not wrap around the reality that it was something that didn't look like a black bear, but part of my mind would not allow me to go there. So I accepted that, I guess to stay safe, so I wouldn't go crazy. I
You
sort
didn't
of,
hear like any other kind of any disembodied voices or talking or anything of that nature?
no talking. I just heard the heavy footsteps, and as it entered, and walked around my campground, it never got closer to 30, 40 feet from where I was basically crouched down on the ground on my knees. It got within 30 feet of me, and I heard the heavy asthmatic breathing, and it did. I've been around black bears. Didn't sound anything like the huffing of a black bear does. So I came to the conclusion. I think for my own safety, I convinced myself it was a bear. But in my mind, I was, I had some fear going on, and I wasn't scared to the point of crapping myself. But my dog, the whole time, stayed right next to me in ready position on all fours, emitting this deep growl, this deep growl a dog does to let its owners know that, my dog was not willing to go after it. And it's funny because I've encountered range cattle, and I've been around other people who had dogs and seen them run after black bear. And my dog had no intention of going after whatever this was. He stayed right next to me the whole time. And it was whatever scared, and it gave me the impression my dog was not going
Yeah, it keeps.
to deal with it. So at that point, I thought, oh, this, I assumed it was a black bear, but I came later, I realized what I had dealt with, and sort of that started the whole journey for me, looking into these individuals we call Bigfoot, these cryptids.
So it was 19. How old were you then when it happened?
Okay, this was 1979. I would have been about, this would have been over 45 years ago. I would have been 25, I think, 26 years old, 24 years old.
24.
Yeah.
But it never came like near you, like to mess with you. You had your tent set up.
No, I had no tent. I
Did
just
you
had
smell anything weird, like a scent in the air?
I've been asked that question. I never smelled anything. There were, the smell of like the cactus flowers. We had, they had beaver tail, or I guess what you'd call a prickly pear. They had snake cactus, and they had scrub oaks, and some junipers not far from where I was, or junipers within 20, 30, 40 feet of me, these 15-foot, 20-foot tall juniper trees. But
So how tall do you think it was by what you've seen? How tall did you? Yeah.
I think it was, I estimated on the safe side, I would say 6.5 to 7 feet. From where I estimated it, from the next morning when I got up, I looked over at that tree that my flashlight was dying. I had this cheap flashlight with the 2 D-cell batteries in it, and it was starting to, the beam was getting dim, and I couldn't see very far. And the longer I used it, the weaker it got. So what I kept doing is I'd shut it off, and then when I needed it next time, I turned it back on. So I was trying to save the battery. But this thing, at one point, I got a good silhouette image of it from a distance, maybe 30 feet away. And it reminded me of a man, but a taller man. I'm only like 5'10". It was way taller than me. So in my back of my mind, I was check marking off what I thought it could have been, and I kept going back to black bear because that's all my mind could, I guess, understand. But later on, when I re-examined the event and went through it step by step, I realized it was not a black bear, and I knew it wasn't a man. I knew it wasn't
unusual afterwards, like when the sun rose. Did you go to see if there was any like footprints, any scat, or anything, limbs, something broken, like tree branches or anything like that?
Well, I sort of kicked myself here years later that I didn't do that. That by that creek where I was camping, there was a mixture of sand and clay, and a mixture of sand, clay, and hardpan. And I was like, I was in such a hurry to get out of there the next morning. I packed all my stuff up. I had thrown a rope up in a tree near where I was camping and had my backpack strung up in a tree. I had to lower it out. It took me about 5 minutes to pack all my stuff away, and then me and my dog, we took off back up the mountain to
You were
where I had.
gone.
What's that?
You were gone. You're like
Yeah,
later.
I wasn't going to stick around because now I probably would have. I'm looking, it's one of those things you look back and you go, if I knew what back then what I know now, I would have stuck around and I would have looked for evidence.
You think the fire is what kept the whatever it was away? The fire that you had in the campfire kept it away.
I think it kept it away, but I think it also it sensed, because during the daytime before I went back for the night camp, I had a couple hours before I had 2 or 3 hours before sunset. I had gone down that valley between the mountains and I had done some research, and I was just hiking around, and I heard wood knocks, but I discounted the wood knocks at that point. There were some rows of trees off the side of this creek that ran through my camping area, and I walked along that creek, and these trees were on the right side of me. I guess it would be to my south, and I heard knocking coming out of this forested area, and I kept dismissing that as somebody must have camped above where I or parked their car above where I parked, even though when I had left my car, there were no other cars there, and I thought there was somebody with a hatchet or an axe wood chopping. Of course, later the next morning when I left after the ordeal, when I got back up to where my car was parked on the summit, I realized there were no other cars there. So I learned later about the thing they do, which is now they call it wood knocking or knocking. I realized that's what I heard. So I think this creature, when I went on my daytime hike, it saw me, and at some point it followed me back that night after sunset. It entered my camp. So it must have determined, I basically led it to where I was camping. It probably saw me at some point even coming down the mountain.
But you didn't hear like no growling or
I
anything
heard,
like that.
no, I just heard heavy breathing, like a big person that had a big set of lungs. Sounded like almost like asthmatic breathing. And I never heard any growling, no voices. I even like I said, when it came and entered across the stream, when I heard its feet hit the water splashing, I think I said a second time, I said, "Who is that?" The first time I said, "Who is that?" I heard it walking down the base of the mountain. There's a bunch of like shale. It's like from a glacier deposit, that gray shale. And I could hear it walking through the shale. It made the same sound I made when I walked down the mountain. I was walking through the shale bed of loose rock. And I heard it walking down that, and I'm thinking, is that a person? And it's too dark to see, and why doesn't it have a flashlight? So my mind went to it's a park ranger, it's a warden, and he had walked all the way down the mountain in almost total darkness, and that sort of threw me for a loop. I thought, there's no way a person could walk down the side of that mountain in that fall without using a flashlight. I mean, that's why I left early in the morning. I knew I'd have to hike down this mountain, and it's near a location I call the Kneeling Nun Monument. It's a location, an observation point where you can see from miles away, you can see this outcrop of rock that looks like a nun kneeling down. and it's still there to this day. It's sort of a tourist. It's a spot where tourists stop going through the Black Hills, the Black Range Mountains. You can stop at this overlook, and there used to be a sign there indicating what direction to look through to at this observation point to see this monument called the Kneeling Nun. Well, that's where I descended to the base of this mountain, and that was a few hours hike to get down to the valley. It wasn't like I walked a mile or two. I walked probably, I want to say, minimum to 10 to 11 miles to get to this spot where I ended up camping.
Wow.
So it was a lengthy hike, but I was used to that because I did a lot of hiking and minimum camp, what I call camping with backpack all over in all the state parks and national parks we have here in Illinois. I did a lot of camping back then, so I was sort of used to that. But I paid the price the next morning when I had to hike out of it. I had to go up in altitude, and I was in a hurry, and I had not slept the whole night before because of this incident. And I was just. Did
you feel when you was walking back out of there that something was following you?
I never got the feeling of that. I feel like I was being watched, though, more than feeling that I was being followed. And I just remember filling up all my water bottles in my canteen to get back up the mountain and being in a hurry, And at that time, I had met some people that were, I guess they lived down in that part of New Mexico. One guy in particular was from the Navajo Nation. He was Diné, and he had a couple of my friends that were Latino. They hung out with him, and he made the comment to me before I went on this camping trip by myself about this thing about skinwalkers. And I didn't even know what a skinwalker was. I didn't even ask him. I just knew it had something to do with Native American belief systems or understanding.
That's what I was saying, that I'm thinking that's one of the things that I thought of that you might have, besides a Bigfoot, would be a shapeshifter skinwalker, because you said it sounded like a person, like you were walking, but they have the ability to change forms.
Yeah, I don't discount that. I don't discount that.
There's a lot of that here in Central Texas. A lot of shapeshifter skinwalker activity at the lakes, at the rivers, creeks, on base, on Fort Hood, here in Temple. I've had my run-in with a shapeshifter skinwalker, and when I lived in Killeen, and the ones that mess with me over here, they follow, and they're mischievous. They can whistle like a person out there, or they can make mimic sounds like a wind chime, a lawnmower. They can mimic the sounds of something. They can even mimic believe it or not, they can mimic the sound of water, or if the water's splashing, they can mimic all that. That's what they do.
Yeah, that would not surprise me. I mean, it wasn't until 30 years later after I had returned to Illinois and I got married and I had a couple, me and my wife, we had our kids, and it was 30 plus years after that occurred that I finally told them what happened to me in New Mexico. And when I told my son the story, that was one of the first things my son told me. How he came across this information, I don't know. But he told me, he says, "Dad, did you ever think it was something other than a Bigfoot?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And he goes, he suggested, he says, maybe it was a skinwalker.
Yeah.
And he's part, my wife's 50% Native American. My wife's, she's Azteca, my son is he's into the cultural part of that. So I think he must have been doing some reading, and his grandfather, when he was alive, he told me when he lived down in southern part of Mexico that it was big into witchcraft, he told me the story about being followed. He lived in a village near Guadalajara, and he remembers going to get some supplies, flour, sugar, whatever, and he was walking back to his village. And he says he was followed by a black dog. And he told me this when I first met him, because he knew I was at that point. I did a lot of outdoors hiking. I was interested in gathering Nepalas, which is, even in Illinois, we have Nepalas, which is prickly pear cactus, grows out here in our forest too. And he asked me, he says, if I had ever seen anything strange. And I didn't even tell him about my Bigfoot story. And I asked him if he knew anything. And he says, yeah. He said, I was followed by a black dog when I was a young man in Guadalajara, living in a village outside of Guadalajara. He says, and as I was walking back to my village, I noticed I was being followed by a black dog. And he says, and he kept looking back at it. And at one point, when he turned around to look back at it, it was no longer a dog. It was an actual person. He was an older man, dressed very strangely. And he says he was just standing there behind him. So he believed in that whole thing about the sorcerers, the curanderos.
In Mexico, they're called Nagual. They're shapeshifter skinwalker.
Yeah, they're
Warlocks.
shapeshifters. Yeah, he called them like brujas.
Yeah, brujos and brujas, yes.
Yeah, brujas, and curanderos. You know, some of them are.
That's what it is. People don't understand that shapeshifter skinwalkers is form of witchcraft. That's what it is. Witchcraft and necromancy.
Yeah, and when I looked deeper into it, I found out, there's the bad side of it, which is the black sorcery, and then there's the good side, which are the curanderos, which actually use the medicinal plants for healing. And he says they're both on the opposite side of the coin. The ones that are evil, and then they're the ones that are good. And he says generally the ones that do the shape shifting, that like to cast spells and they into necromancy, as you mentioned. He says they actually they will try to get rid of the witch doctors that are good, the brujos and brujas that are
curanderos,
yeah. He says they try to actually trick them and use poisons to actually kill them or put spells on them. And I thought, wow, that's very similar to what I sort of remember some of the Native Americans told me when I lived in New Mexico about skinwalkers and how to avoid dealing with them. And I at that time I didn't know much about it, but I never made the connection that maybe what I heard wood knocking, what I heard walking across the creek when I was in the mountains, wasn't Bigfoot. To this day, all I can say is I don't know.
Did you hear anything in threes? Like three knockings?
I try and remember back. I believe I would hear a single knock, and then I would wait, and then it would be followed by either, I believe it was two knocks. And then I would keep looking over to where I could hear the knocking coming from, and it would stop. And the minute I looked away, I would hear another single or double knock. I don't remember it happening in threes.
So is three knocks that is doing the single, and then double is three.
Stop.
Yeah. So here, we talk spiritual also. So what that's telling me that it's saying that it's demonic. Three knocks. That's going against the Trinity.
The Trinity, yeah. And there's a good possibility of that because, when I had my encounters here in Illinois with Bigfoot, I've had single knocks or only a double knock, but never like three. And I found footprints and casted them, and I've seen Bigfoot here in Illinois. In New Mexico, like I said, other than the silhouette I saw with my flashlight, I could not prove other than it was. Now that I no longer convinced myself it was a black bear, I had to face the reality of it. I realized it was something that was man-like, potentially a Bigfoot-like creature. And yet when I came back to Illinois, I've seen in the last, I'd say 12 to 15 years in Illinois here, I've seen Bigfoot, I want to say 5 times. Uh, 3 times with my naked eye, and twice I've seen them on a thermal camera I have, where I've actually seen it moving around a distance from me in total darkness with my thermal camera. And I had a friend with me where I handed him my thermal camera and I go, look straight ahead at 12 o'clock. And he looked and he saw it too. So I had confirmation.
Somebody says, cast all demonic activity in Jesus' name. However, you must have Jesus in your heart to do so. Jesus' name is more than just his name being used. My truth, grace, and truth, not works. Yeah, I was in the military, and as a tanker, we had thermals, thermal sights. The driver had thermal. The gunner, TC. All the time that I was in there, I really never witnessed a Bigfoot in the thermals. I witnessed everything else because they have heat signature, So I witnessed like deers, coyotes, cougars, mountain lions, wildcats, rats, raccoons, and stuff like that. Because you could laser them with a laser, and it tell you how far they are from the tank. I run into things like that, but I never witnessed a Bigfoot through the thermals. But I did witness what I witnessed was something in the range, downrange, when we're going to go qualify our tank at night times. I did witness something out there where it was like 6 of them walking in by the targets where we're going to go downrange, to qualify our tank. And I had to call a range and let them know there was something downrange by the targets, by the TRPs. And they looked through their thermals from up there and they seen something too. But the only thing is, it looked like a dark shadow figures moving down range, like 6 of them. But they had no heat signature, so they seen the movement too. So we had to clear out the weapons and traverse the tank to the rear, so the range cutter could go investigate. They went down there and they couldn't find nothing, but there was something because they seen it and I seen it. But it had no heat signature. Just very tall.
Yeah. I believe there are
So,
creatures out there we don't know about that, for whatever reason, don't have a heat signature. Because I've seen things also through my thermal that moved around at night that didn't have a heat signature. And in one instance, I picked up this creature. This was in Tennessee. I was at my friend's cabin. He has a homestead down there. And I heard a hollering, screeching, and just sounded like a combination of a woman screaming, a wolf howling, and a person screaming all together. And when I opened the door of his cabin, this was at 11:30, almost close to midnight, I pulled my thermal camera. It's a newer version than the one I had when I saw the Bigfoot. And what I picked up, which was different than when I caught Bigfoot on thermal years before, I picked up no heat signature of the body, only the eyes. Only the eyes showed heat. And the eyes were front facing, like a predator's eyes, like a human face. And it went from 2 or 3 feet above the ground, like it was crouching or crawling, and raised up to like the 6 or 7 foot height. And then it sort of got higher and then dropped down a little further. And then it backed away from me the whole time facing my camera and it was 40 feet away from me. And I have the video, and it shows the glowing eyes. And when I talked to my friend who owns the cabin, he saw the video, he said to me, how come you're not picking up the heat signature of like its head, its shoulders, its neck, its body? And I said, I don't know. I said, for whatever reason, this thing was able to mask the heat signature on its body, but yet I was able to pick up the heat coming off its eyes. And then the heat, I had it on a pallet where I had it like I think it was phosphorus orange or like molten orange was the color I picked because it's a FLIR brand camera. And he looked at it, and when we finally started going from frame to frame, when I put it on my laptop and I was examining it frame by frame, this video, I found what appeared to be a smaller version of the adult on its shoulders,
Oh,
like it was a pup. Its eyes were closer together. I could barely see the shape of its head, like it had pointed ears, very similar to like a puppy, like a dog. And he came to the conclusion that what I saw was a dog man, and he has since seen the same dog man or something like it having. He'll see the eye shine, and then he'll see a secondary eye shine on his shoulder of what appears to be a smaller individual. So he came to the conclusion this was an adult, whether it was a sibling, a father, or a mother carrying around one of the little ones on its shoulder. And I have frames of that. And I remember when he showed me his pictures, he took with his cell phone at night where he was shining, he had his headlights on his van, and his fan was reflecting off their eye shine. And he sent me that video, and you could see on one of the creatures, it had, again, the forward-facing eyes like a predator, either like a mountain lion or like a dog with a big head looking toward you. And then around its neck and shoulder, you would see the smaller eye shine of a smaller individual, like I told them maybe it's a dogman puppy. I didn't know what else to call it. But then I went back to my video, pulled it up on my FLIR, my thermal video, and I sent him frames from that. And I go, dude, it's the same thing I caught on my thermal. I got the same images of this little puppy, whatever you want to call it. It sort of reminded me of how
Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo.
yeah, Scrappy-Doo. Yeah. It reminded me of how, a mother possum will carry its young on its back. And I was thinking, is this so I told him, I said, but I don't understand why I'm not getting heat signature. Because on the Bigfoot in Illinois, I got the entire creature was glowing from head down to toe. And it was obvious, you could tell by the shape of it, it was a Bigfoot. And it was about 95 feet from where me and my friend Dave were sitting. When I spotted it, we call it the tree peeker. It leaned out from behind the tree to look at us. And I was so shocked, I immediately handed him the camera and I said, look where I was just looking at my 12 o'clock. And he looks and he goes, oh my God. And then he goes, it just leaned away from the tree, stepped out, and turned around and started walking away from us. And I was like reaching for the camera, like, give me the camera, I want to look. And he goes, oh my God. He says, it has a bottom, it has a butt, like Oprah Winfrey. So I don't want to get you in trouble. I hope that's not a TOS. I don't want to get you in trouble. But
it's for adults here only, man. It's all nothing but adults.
I had to laugh a little when he said that. I go, really? He says, talk about backfield in motion. And by the time he gave me the camera back and I looked, I could barely see the glow from the top of its head as it disappeared away from us down the trail. And it went, it was from where it was 95 feet away. We figured it was the next morning because we did a comparison to about where the height was on the tree it was leaning from. When we got to where that tree is, the ground went downhill. It was actually walking downhill away from us. That's why, as it got further away, it disappeared. And that was also the same night, within an hour of maybe an hour and a half of seeing that one, we saw a second one 35 feet to our left, crawling on all fours around us to my left. And I caught that again. We'll never know if that's the same individual or not, but I saw it crawling. And I could see The upper thigh,
I've seen one like that crawling low to the ground, like it's
it was
muscular.
crawling like a cougar crawls. And that's what
Yeah,
confused us, because when I handed the camera to Dave, he looked and he goes, I don't see a head and I don't see a tail, because he assumed it was a cougar. And then when he got closer, he goes, when it was moving really slowly. He says, it's got a flat back like humans do. He says, it's not a narrow spine or back like a cat or a dog has. He says, this has a flat back. And he says, you could see the upper shoulder, the upper thigh, no head or no tail. And it crawled to our left, went between two hills, crawled behind a wood pile. All the debris and deadfall had fallen down between these two hills to create this like bunch of a debris of just basically trees and litter that sort of during the course of several winters, all this deadfall was in the ravine between these two hills. This thing crawled behind this deadfall, and he's looking at it and he's describing it to me. He goes, I saw it crawling past us. And I said to him, when I saw it crawling past us, I go, that is not wind disturbing the leaves on the ground. There was a lot of leaf litter on the ground. And we were there in real late fall, probably October. And I go, that's not leaf litter being moved by the wind. And he goes, what? He says, no. I said, it's this thing crawling through the leaf litter. That's the sound we were hearing. We thought it was the wind blowing the leaves. It was this thing. He was moving, like every time the wind would pick up, it would move even faster. So at that point, when I handed him the camera, he goes, it just went behind that pile of deadfall and it disappeared. And he goes, wait a second. It just popped its head back up behind the wood pile. It's looking directly back at us now. So we both got to see it. And I had a Scout FLIR from probably 7, 8 years ago. It was older than that. And it didn't have the function to film, to take video or take photos. So it was basically like what deer hunters use. It's for spotting deers. That's all it was used for. But it actually did it alerted us to the fact that the one I saw 95 feet away made us realize maybe this is to have for security, because when we spotted that one 35 feet off to my left, it was like at my 10 o'clock. When I saw that, I was like, without that thermal, I would have had no clue. That thing could have come right into, we were sitting in total darkness. It could have come right between us and sat between us, and we wouldn't have known it.
could it be right there by you, right behind you?
Yeah, and then we
above
had
you, below you, or above you.
Yeah, they were, and I believe they were going around us, behind us, because at one point during the night we had two different deer, one a stag and one a young, probably a 1-year-old, come into our camp and circle us. And these deer, you could see their breath. They were breathing so slow, so hard, like a horse that was run hard. You could see their breath on thermal. They were breathing so hard, you could hear their breathing. In this forest, using a dead log as a backrest, we were sitting on the ground, no lights. We call it cold camping. We don't build a fire or nothing. And what it did is, these Bigfoot, they could hear us talking and probably could see us, because apparently they do have good night vision. But they must have wondered, what are these two idiots sitting in the woods in the middle of the dark at nighttime, no lights, no campfire, no nothing. And me and him were talking just like I'm talking to you now. We weren't hiding the fact that we were there. We were using, well, later on, I told Dave, I said, you realize we were using ourselves as bait? And I says, he goes, I know. He says, that's why when he brought me there, he said, I want you to see Bigfoot. And I misunderstood him. I thought he meant he had Bigfoot evidence he wanted to show me, and that we were just going to do an overnight. Well, we ended up, the overnight was you sat there awake all night, observing your surroundings. And your eyes get adjusted to the dark at some point, but it was partially cloudy. We had like a sliver moon, and you without a flashlight, you were struggling. So we did occasionally, if I had to look through my backpack, I used a red light. I did what the military does. I use a red light so I can't be observed by other people, but they knew we were there. They heard us talking, and this has happened two to three more times after that. I went back to that location, and I saw them again with my naked eye. The remaining three times I saw them with my naked eye come into camp, and it's just sort of their ability to be. I think when they move and you hear them, I think they choose to move and create noise as a decision on their point. It's sort of something that they decide to do. If they don't want to be heard, they can move totally silent. But the times that I've seen them moving and they're silent and I've been able to see them, I was very fortunate. Other times where they were walking in and making noise, it's like they didn't care that we heard them walking. And that's why I go back to the case I told you about in New Mexico. It's like they boldly walked in, this creature boldly walked down the mountain, across the creek, into my camp, into the perimeter of my camp, and didn't seem to care that I could hear it walking. Now I never decided what that really was because I have no proof or evidence of it, but I always thought over the years it was a Bigfoot, and it maybe had one or two members of its group or family with it.
I got a footage here, a short reel that I created a couple of months ago. Me and my brother had gone and done an investigation, and we caught some activity. And the short reel, you can see something moving. It looks black, but then when it looks at the camera, you can see white eyes. What it is, I'll show it to you so you can check it out.
Okay.
I don't know if you viewed it here before or not, but I can share it with you. Let me go to it. I'm gonna push. Let me share it. There you go. So you can check this out. It's just, I got a flashlight in my hand because I heard movement around me, and it was moving a hell of a fast, man. You can see it moving there, and it's got white eyes.
I see the white eyes.
I don't know how much you can see, but let me slow it down for you. Oh, I went to a different one. Okay. I'm gonna slow down the frame a little bit. So there it is. It's moving. Check it out. It's moving right there, and it's gonna look at me with both of its eyes. It's right there.
Okay. I see it.
But the original video, it moves a lot faster. I slowed down the speed because it was moving fast. It was actually like right beside me, and I heard the footstep, like something moving fast, beside me. So I hit it with the flashlight to see what it was. But
the eye shine you're getting, is that a reflection off your flashlight?
No, that's its eyes.
Its eyes are almost like an amber to an orange.
Right there.
Yeah. That's weird.
Look at that.
Yeah.
It was when it literally moves, it's much taller than that, but it goes down. Look. Let me see how I can catch it. How the height of it when it initially starts. So I estimated it that it's moving fast, so I hit it with a flashlight. There's the eyes. Check it out. Boom.
Yeah, I see it. That looks like they're right above. Is that brush or bushes in front of it?
Yeah, those are trees, little trees.
Okay. Yeah, I see it. That's very similar to the one I saw with Dave the second or third night that we went cold camping at night. I saw something similar to that. Two sets of eyes. on the ridge of a hill overlooking our campsite, looking down at us.
And they move very fast. They can cover ground real fast. It could be right beside you, flank you. It was trying to flank us, and I think it might not have been alone. There might have been others, but then I
Yeah.
got another image also that's kind of freaked out, man.
So how
Uh,
far were you away from it?
right here, I
Yeah.
would say probably like 40 feet,
Yeah.
40 to
See,
50 feet away.
they seem to be right up on you, and they always seem to have something between you and them.
And what I had was the one of those flashlights that shines real far away.
Oh, you had one of those LED high beams.
Yeah, that's how I was able to capture it. Uh,
Yeah, you actually, well, without the flashlight, you still would have got the eye shine.
yeah,
Uh, I,
and I got another one where there was. I think this one was following me all the way from the entrance of that path, because I have one where it's complete dark with no flashlight, and I'm able to see. And I'll show it to you in a moment, where you can still see the eye glows, the eye shine, the same color as that. Uh,
yeah, that's almost like an amber. The eye shine looks amber to me in color,
yeah.
like gold almost.
Let me see what else I can show you here. Well, let me get out of here, and I can probably share another video, but I'm just trying to tell people that these things they move very rapidly.
Yeah, they
They're
do.
fast. And I have one of during the day when we talk about the spirits, how fast they can move during the day. Even during the day, they're out there. You just people don't know that they're out there because some of them are. When we talk about shifter skinwalkers, they're spirit form. I think I have a video where something moves very fast right beside me. So I'm going to show you that video, that short reel also. Uh, and it's an investigation during the day. Let me see if I can find that so you can check it out. I'll show you the original footage, and then I got one where I lower it down the speed. This is during bright daylight. Let me see if I can find the footage for you.
I get the impression you don't go alone either. You have usually
Oh
somebody.
yeah, I go alone, brother. I go alone. That night, my brother, I was gonna go in there by myself, but my brother didn't want me to go there by myself, so he went with me.
Yeah,
But
that's a good idea.
I normally go alone, when I do investigations.
Well, I do
Uh,
too, but I'm as I've gotten older, I use more caution now. So my nighttime investigations, I don't get too far from my vehicle. I stay usually pretty close to my car, and I've seen eye shine here in Illinois, uh, not far from where I live, within 15 minutes of where I live. I'll see eye shine near the trailhead, very similar to what you just showed there.
so check. I'm gonna show you one during the day, brother. Check this out because they're there during the day too. When we talk about spirits, what would they be in the day? Well, they're soaking up all that energy from the sun and
Oh
from the
yeah,
minerals. I know in Mexico there's a lot of minerals. There's a lot of limestone. Limestone it stores energy. It's a conductor,
yes it
and you
is.
got the water flow. So that's when things manifest. They manifest because of the energy that's there. So check this out. I'm gonna share it with you. Here's another one that I captured, but this is during the day. There you go. Let me share it. I can play the video so you can hear what I'm saying. Oops. There you go. I just heard something here. Sounded like some kind of bark. Because I've been through here. I just heard something here. Sounded like some kind of bark. You seen that, brother? How fast that moved?
Yeah, it was sort of like a streak almost. I'm looking at my phone, my cell phone, and the frame's very small. I'm
So
trying
now
to.
what I'm gonna do is show you the other version, the lowered speed version.
Okay.
It's moving fast, man.
It moved from, was that from right to left?
Yes.
Holy smokes. It's
I'll
almost
pause it
like
in a,
it's moving so
I'll
fast.
pause it in a moment.
Yeah, you know what that reminds me of?
What's up,
You
brother?
know, I always use this analogy when people don't understand how fast Bigfoot moves, and that includes Dogman. Is the best way I could explain it is, okay, if you're standing on the edge of a road and a car is doing 40 miles an hour, and you're looking straight ahead across to the other side of the road, and that car goes past you at 40 miles an hour, you don't really see the car. You just see what I just saw in your video. You just see something streak past you.
A blur like
It's
this.
just a blur. But then you talk to the guy who's standing 100 feet behind you, and he'll tell you, yeah, I saw this thing move. And you're like, I just saw a blur. You can't even sometimes describe what you even saw.
Here's the original speed right here, brother. Look at how fast it moves.
Yeah, oh, that's fast. I'm telling you, I've had that barking you're talking about. I was in an area. This is a couple of years back. I still have that video. Uh, I walk into an area and I hear all what I thought was a bunch of dogs, like 4 or 5 dogs, all barking together, and some barking individually. And as I get closer, the dog barks in the background. I could hear human voices, deep human voices, like 2 men with deep voices talking. And I don't know if it was English, I don't know if it was Japanese, but they were talking in some language. And interspersed in the talking, when they stopped talking, I would hear a dog bark. When I scrubbed through the video, when I brought it home, the dog barks, when I enhanced it with my software, the dog barks were now whoops. They were no longer dog barks. They were whoops.
Ah,
And mixed in with the whoops, as I scrubbed through it, I had a guy in Washington, I sent him the audio, and he scrubbed through it, and he found singing. Sing song, he calls it. He calls it Bigfoot sing song. And it sounded like a female Bigfoot singing. I'll send you that. But it's I can't make I heard the dog barks, I heard the voices, I heard the owl hoots, and I heard something come out of concealment I was above the river, and there's these rocky bluffs right above the river where I was walking. I heard something like jump out of concealment. It sounded like an elephant jumping out of, like it was hidden, and it jumped up, and I heard it jump up, and I recorded it on my camera, and I went up toward the sound, and beyond the bluffs where it jumped up or jumped out, that's how it sounded to me. There's a 2-way for 4-wheelers and side-by-sides. I went to that 2-way, that trail, and I found a muddy patch about 20 feet from where I walked out of the edge of the tree line, and there were 8 footprints of something who had 12-inch, 13-inch foot, extremely long toes. The toes were extremely long, not like a human's toes. So I came to the conclusion it was Bigfoot. But then when I sent the video in to Washington to this gentleman he scrubs through audio, he has a special software. He sent me back the cleaned up version of my video, and in that audio you hear singing, like chanting, of a female voice, and it sounded like a female, like a Bigfoot. A female Bigfoot is what I can only conclude that's what it was. Later on, he says to me, up here we call it sing song. And I go, why do you do that? I said, why? Why do you refer to it as sing song? He says, we get the same type of audio from Bigfoot up here in the peninsula, the Olympic Peninsula. He said, we recorded Bigfoot singing. We call it sing song Bigfoot. So I have that, and I found a structure. I found the footprints. I heard the 800-pound owl. Sounds like a giant owl. And I heard the dogs barking. At one point, I had them on all three sides of me. They were south of me, east of me, and west of me. And then on the other side, which is on the north side of me, is this giant grassy hill that goes up toward a quarry, and then it drops down into this quarry lake. So when I was there, I was by myself. In my mind, something kept telling me, I guess it was my intuition, my gut reaction was telling me to leave. While all this was going on around me, he said, you had confirmation with the footprints, the sing-song. I found the beginnings of a teepee structure. And then, of course,
I got a question. When you were seeing all these things, what were you believing? I mean, did it pull you in to believe that what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're finding is Bigfoot?
no, I was sort of resuming some of my research from 30 years earlier when I had my encounter in Bigfoot in New Mexico. I was doubting that I could find them that easily. So in my mind, I was going, I even say it in my video. I say, did a person drive up in a four-wheeler and a woman get off the four-wheeler and kick her shoes off and walk through this 20-foot section of mud on the trail? I actually said that. Oh, a person could have got off a four-wheeler or a side-by-side, kicked their shoes off and walked in the mud. I was like making excuses.
Yeah.
And there were no tracks from a four-wheeler there. If a four-wheeler had driven through that muddy section, I would have seen the tracks. So I didn't know what, so I said that. And then when I heard the owl, I did mention in the video, oh, there's men talking to each other. Maybe they're down by the river walking their dogs. Well, when I sent it to this guy, he's part of the Olympic Project in Washington. When he viewed it, he ran through the video, he scrubbed through it. He found all this vocalizations. You hear whooping. I thought it was dog barks. They sound just like humans. You know how we can sound like dogs barking? They can do the same thing we can do.
Yeah, they can mimic.
Yeah, they can mimic everything. They mimic our voices. I think they probably do have language, and they probably do use deep tonality in their voices. But it sounded to me like two big 300-pound football players talking to each other, big, deep voices. And I even say in my video, oh, there's two men down there walking and talking, and they must have their dogs with them. So I was basically tricking myself, and I didn't, because Bigfoot they're so adept at tricking you, and they know that we're going to dismiss it and say, oh, that's a homeless person. That's, whatever. And the dog barking, when I actually examined the dog barking, I ran the audio on my laptop and I enhanced it. I was like, son of a gun, those are whoops. It's no different if you enhance. I can imitate a dog bark, but I'm sure when I looked at the hertz, the level of hertz it came out at on the spectrograph, Bigfoot vocalizations always seem to come out at 6 and 7 hertz. That seems to be the telltale sign, where dogs and coyotes and foxes and wolves are at a higher hertz level. Same with human voices. These dog barks, when I examined them, they were at 6 to 7 hertz. So were the vocalizations, the whoops and the sing-song were at 6 and 7 hertz. That's a telltale sign of Bigfoot, where they come out on the graph. If you have whether you use a spectrograph for audio capture, it'll tell you what hertz level it's at. So that was telltale. And he told me that. He says, that seems to be about at the right hertz level for where Bigfoot, where they do their vocalizations. And they do mimic a lot of different animals, not just us.
Yeah, the DDN, like I call them DDN, disembodied demonic Nephilim. That's what they do. Look at this one here. It's moving pretty fast. but it's in the form of white. Check it out. Passes right in front of my. I was doing a live, and it passes right in front of me.
Oh, did you see him with your naked eye?
I seen I seen something pass, and I moved my head, but when I looked, it wasn't to my right. But I was able to capture it on camera. It
Yeah,
happened so fast.
that was fast. That's a form. That's a bodily form. Now that could have been spiritual energy. That could have been
See
Bigfoot,
the back? It's
Nephilim.
got like spikes.
I see. Yeah, I don't know if that almost reminds me of looking at the profile of hair on a creature that's standing erect. This thing seemed tall because you only
Yeah.
captured part of it, part of the body.
So yeah, it moved fast. And then that was my cue to get out of there. You know, I left, but I was able to capture it on this short reel.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I felt something pass. I felt the energy. It triggered my spiritual instinct. You know, my hair stood up and everything. Like I felt something, like some kind of energy.
Well,
It felt weird.
I think Bigfoot have. I think they store, whether it's because of their hair or however it is, or whether it's static energy, static electrical energy,
Yeah,
or some form of
magnetic, static,
electrical
magnetic.
energy, magnetic
Yes.
energy, or electromagnetic energy. I think they definitely store it because, and I think there's some things going on with telepathy regarding them. You know, people talk about mind speak. I try to call it, basically, I use reality. I know
Hmm.
people have telepathy. Certain individuals have the ability to talk to each other. Certain individuals have that ability of telepathy. They're a very, I think we all have that ability, but I think very few humans that exist in this world have what I call actual usable telepathy that they employ to use, maybe read their loved ones' minds, maybe people that are a threat to read their minds to see if that person is a threat. But I think Bigfoot has telepathy because I have an instance where I was out in the field and I was filming with my camcorder. And I went back to a location where I heard wood knocks. And in the video, I say, I'm at a location. I was here a few weeks ago and I heard wood knocks right here. In a minute, right here left my lips. I hear a wood knock, and I recorded it on my video. And I looped it about 3 times. And I thought, there was no evidence of activity when I was there at all. There was structure, there was woodwork. Some people call it wood talk, but there was evidence that they had been there. But right when I said I had heard wood knocks here before, immediately I hear a loud wood knock. And it was a good distance away, but it was loud. It was like, and I had to think, well, I'm in a state park. Are there some people hiking down the trails and somebody pulls out his machete or hatchet and hits a tree with it? And maybe, is that what I heard? I have no proof, but it was just, I don't believe in coincidence. And I think it was too serendipitous when I heard that wood knock. I think, and right as I said, I heard a wood knock here before, immediately I hear a wood knock. I captured it on video. I looped it. I've had other people like you that are into research say they can sort of access your intention or read your mind or understand if you're somebody that they have no problem with, that they respect, or if you're somebody who might be dangerous to them that they don't want to deal with, and they sort of keep a distance. With me, they've always seemed to come in on me when I'm in the field, either by myself or with somebody else. They always seem like in that video you just showed. I
I got
always
another one for you because you talked about an owl, right? In Spanish, we call them a lechuza. You know, where
Lechuza, yeah.
witches they take the form of lechuza. There's another owl that we know of biblically. It's Lilith and her children. You know that she turns into a big owl.
Oh
I
yeah,
got a
well,
picture here. I got a picture, a short reel that I want to show you, brother. Check this out, and I'm going to show you the close up, but I'm going to show you the original first. Let me put it up here, and I'll share it with you. I'm going to play the footage so you can hear what I'm saying here. Okay. Let me make it bigger here. Okay. And I'm going to push play. Oh, wrong one. It jumped. Here we go. Believe. Oh. Believe. Oh. Right here. My hair's already stood up, brothers and sisters. I feel something here. I'm playing it from the beginning here so you can see this where it's at. This is probably like a good 40, 50 feet away. Believe. Oh. Right there in the distance.
Yeah, it's in the center of your frame.
Right here.
Yeah, I saw it in the center of your frame.
So now I'm going to show you the close-up of it. Oh, wrong one. Dang it, it's hiding from me. Believe. Oh. Let me get to the one. See, let me get back to the close-up of it. That one always does that to me. Every time I try to share it, it hides. Yeah, you can, since you were talking about an owl.
Yeah, and I think there is. I've heard about the lechuza, the owl lady in Mexico, the owl witch they call it.
Mm-hmm. So here we go. Let me share it. The close-up of it. Now push play. There we go. Hey. Now pause that. It turns its head from the left to the right.
Okay.
It's even got a beak and everything. There it is. And the original picture and the other video, you see how tall it is. It's real tall. This is a close-up of it. It's got the beak and the eyes. In the original video, it's got to be a good, I would say, 15. I would say like 15 feet, 16 feet from this distance.
The eyes are wide apart too.
Yeah.
This is not a small creature.
And yeah, and it's got the beak right in the center. As a matter of fact, let me push play because I believe it makes a noise. So let me push play.
Let me see if I can make this bigger.
Oh. Right here. My hair's already stood up, brothers and sisters. I feel something here. From this area. This is the open space where the thing was hovering. Uh-oh. Came from the believe. Oh. Right here. My hair's already stood up, brothers and sisters. Then we have technical difficulties. I feel something here. Brothers and sisters.
That is
from this area. Let me see if I can focus before it goes dead on me. This is the open space where the thing was hovering. Came from the believe. Oh. Right here. My hair's already stood up, brothers and sisters. I feel something here. From this area. This is the open space where the thing was hovering. Came from the.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
And I was moving fast. I seen that I was fishing my computer was fixing to go dead because the charger was not connected. So I was trying to find the plug to plug it in.
I wish I was on my laptop. I would have showed a bigger frame. I'm looking at this little like 1.5 inch square, trying to see it, but I can see. I saw it. I was like, it's very strange. Very strange.
The short reels, I have a lot of short reels, man, of these things that I capture. You know, and I call them DDNs because you see how dark they look, unclean spirits. You know, we talk about cryptid skinwalkers, that they have the capabilities to manifest, mimic voices. Well, that's what they do.
What does DDN stand for?
Yeah, disembodied demonic Nephilim.
Disembodied demonic Nephilim. Okay.
Yeah, that's when the Nephilim got destroyed, they remain here on Earth in disembodied form, in spirit form, unclean. So I believe that some of the things that people capture or they think that might be cryptids is the DDN that's playing games with them, messing with them. Of course, you have the character skinworkers also that they taught witchcraft and necromancy. You know, I witnessed. I got some pictures. The Djinn or the Jinn. I don't know if you heard of
the Jinn. Yeah.
I witnessed that out there in Operation Desert Storm.
It's funny, it's funny how even in Iran and Iraq and originally Persia, of course, to them the Jinn, when you go down that rabbit hole, that one gentleman they interviewed, he was talking about his family going back several generations had dealt with the Jinn, but he refers to the Jinn as what we would call giants, meaning they are also spiritual. They're a form of unclean spirit.
Yeah, it's all it is. The Jinn is the same thing as a DDN. They're unclean spirits that are left. So I got a picture I want to share with you. Here you go. How an unclean spirit will look without the manifestation of pretending to be something, but it's true manifestation.
Well, isn't essentially that's sort of what skinwalking is too, though.
Yeah. But this is the true form. The true form of it is spirit. This is the true form before it does any manifestation or it takes any other form.
Yeah, it's just energy. Yeah. It's energy by any other name.
Spirits, unclean spirits,
That's very weird. Where did you take this? Was this outside?
This happened and while I was doing a walk early in the morning in Killeen. Well, I lived in between Killeen and Harker Heights. There's a embark right beside me and there's an airport ahead of me. And there was a big quad. I would walk like 10 miles in the morning, 10 miles at night. And this morning I was walking, and as I was walking, I felt a lot of weight on me. It was so heavy that it dropped me down to one knee.
Wow.
And as I got dropped to one knee, my arms got pulled back like this, like somebody was holding me from my shoulders. And then my head started getting pressed down towards my chest. And then I said, God help me. When I said, God help me, I was let go and the weight got lifted off of me. So this picture here was an accidental picture. I had my camera, my cell phone in my hand. So when I dropped it, I accidentally took this picture. So I'm showing you the form of how they appear or how they come in spirit form. If you really look at it, they look like little daredevils or little
demons, tornadoes,
genies, genies, the Jinn. Yeah, there you go. There's an example of that. That's
even in.
Go ahead, brother. Hello?
Like how they can little, that's why the story regarding Aladdin's lamp came along.
DS, you temporarily lost audio, so you might want to go back to what you first said because it sounded like the audio got cut off.
Yeah, I lost you.
There we go.
Okay, here you now. Here you now. Yeah, that's very unusual. Yeah,
Do you
that's
guys
a
actually?
part of the paranormal. People don't realize that they call it paranormal. I believe it was normal among the ancient peoples, these abilities, even to perceive things that nowadays we don't perceive unless we use technology. I think that part of our mind's eye was not para. I think it was actually normal in ancient times. And a lot of the ancients had that ability to perceive and see things that nowadays we don't see because we only see 1% of the spectrum as human beings. We don't see everything, including dark matter. We don't see it.
Yeah, I got ambushed early in the morning, like around 7 in the morning, 6:45, 7 in the morning. I was doing my workout. You know, I was injured. I had a blood clot on my left leg, so that's what I was walking, trying to build up my left leg at the time. This is like in 2004 when I got ambushed, and this is the evidence that I got. You know how this unclean spirits. That's why I always tell people, if you see the manifestation, if you really look spiritually, you're going to be able to see what's within that manifestation. And most likely you'll see something like this. The inside the manifestation of the form that it's
Right.
taking, you're going to see the unclean spirit. So what do? You put it to the spiritual test. You test the spirit, you know, you tie, bind, and rebuke it in the name of Jesus Christ.
Right.
If
Right.
it disappears and it smells like sulfur, or you already know that it's demonic, or if it disappears and it leaves like a pestilent smell or goo, black goo behind,
hmm
is letting you know that it's a demon.
Did you ever encounter anything like that would give you the impression that it's like with orbs? When you witness orbs, that you'll see like inside the orb, you'll see figures
Yeah.
of individuals, whether they be people, other creatures that maybe are not human inside these orbs. Because uh, I've seen orbs at night from a distance, but I didn't know what to make of them because, you know, and then I had a friend who just sent me a video of some orbs he took in Ohio, and they were big. They were like, there were two of them traveling down the ridgeline of a mountain in a national forest, and they were probably 40, 50 feet apart. They looked like two giant headlights, but they were the size of a car. And then later on, when he showed me them later on, I think several minutes later, there was one nearby where they were at nighttime. They were in the forest sitting on bag chairs, and they witnessed one come close, and it was not big like a car. I'd say it was probably maybe no so bigger than maybe a basketball size,
Yes.
soccer ball size, and it was moving very strangely, and it was coming like it would sort of bob and weave. It would like raise up and go to the left and then drop down and then like peek around the edges of the tree, and then all of a sudden it would be in a distance farther away and up toward the treetops. And he said he filmed it. And I asked him, I said, did you ever get the impression it was like a drone, like technology? He goes, no. He said it was totally silent. He said it reacted when they talked to it. So I've seen orbs, but I've always dismissed it as eye shine because it was so far away and I couldn't tell what it really was. But in his video, my friend Dave's video, I was like, yeah, you got something there. They were in the forest at nighttime. He was with three other men, and he says they just showed up.
Oh yeah, the orbs. The you got the red orbs. Those are demonic, man. They'll attack. I've seen it where they attacked a paranormal investigator. Some people. I had a friend. Sister was in the military, and they had a little paranormal group, and they
Mm-hmm.
heard what was happening in Elms Grove. So they came and they started. They one came and talked to me during the day, and I was telling them, "I'll take you there, but I don't want nothing to happen to y'all, you know, because some of them didn't believe in Jesus Christ. Some of them was Wiccan. One of them said they could astral project.
and that we're going to go there because they said that there was an open portal there. So they said they were going to go close the portal. So there was a female that was from California said she could astral project out of her body and close the portal. That's what she said. And she was talking loud there, in the park. And I said, look, don't be saying too much here because, these things that are here, listening to everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, well, when it gets dark, we're going to go there and you're going to take me to the location. I'm going to close the portal that's there. So, all right, it got dark and are you ready? So, started walking. I stopped. I had no flashlight and I told her to go. I think she had her cell phone light or whatever. And I told her where I had the encounter, with the six that surrounded me. And she stopped by the tree and she's looking and said, right there. She turned off her light and she's standing there and she said, oh my God, like maybe 20 seconds. She's like, oh my God. And she takes off running towards me, So she's running towards me. I'm praying, because I know the activity that's there. So I'm praying. She passes me up and out of the woods comes this big old orange reddish orb, comes out of the woods and comes towards me. As it's coming towards me, it stops and it's looking at me. The orb is looking at
Frozen.
me. And then, orb, prism, or whatever. It's like you said, like a basketball, right?
Yeah.
It's looking at me, and then it goes after her. So by the time I go to the entrance, I find her laid out right there in the entrance. She has no energy. She's like blacked out. And when I'm picking her up, mind you, I have a blood clot in my leg and I have a walking stick.
Oh my God.
The other females to come because they needed to pick her up. I couldn't because my left leg was messed up. So when they picked her up, she had like bumps all over her face and all over her body. Like
She had a reaction.
yeah, like big bumps all over her face and body. And they're like, what the hell happened to her? So they pick her up and they carry her all across the park towards where the vehicles are, and they put her on the ground. When they put her on the ground, she starts seeing the shadow figures and all the things that I've ever witnessed there. They're coming towards her, and I'm looking with my naked eye. I'm not seeing nothing, and she's freaking out. No energy. So put her in the vehicle and get her out of here. So I start praying the Our Father, and I'm like,
Right.
Taliban rebuking whatever she's witnessing. They put her in the vehicle and they take her away, and that was one of the things that happened with those investigators that she got attacked. She never came back. There was another guy that his mom was supposedly a Wiccan. He was there because of what happened to her. So he was there saying that he was going to go close a portal or whatever. And he barely went into the path. And as soon as he went into the path, that was it. He freaking got overtaken by something. That he turned around and he wasn't acting like himself. He was acting like he was being demonized or a form of Wendigo.
Yeah.
And he's smiling, he's laughing like a possession, and he takes off real fast. So there I go, doing the sign of the cross. This time my leg is a little bit stronger.
Wow.
And he's not even in the path no more. Is deep in the woods. So I have to go into the woods, grab him, pick him up, and I'm praying the Our Father, and carry him out of the woods. I took the dude all the way back to the street, and the same thing happened to him. He started seeing all these things, and they had to put him in the vehicle and take him away. And that's the last time I ever seen him.
See, I think humans are our own worst enemy, and we're so full of our own ego that we don't realize that there's more things than we know that we know nothing about, and we assume a lot. And these people that go in there and say they're going to close a portal, or like in her case, it absorbed her energy. It sounds like he almost gets possessed.
I'm thinking he was dealing with spiritual openings because I wasn't ready for the task. Spiritually, you really have to stay prayed up and be prepared when you're into.
And you got to be
like
pure.
That.
You got to be pure heart, and you've got to be.
Yeah.
And so people assume a lot about themselves that they don't know enough about their own selves to even know if they're ready to deal with this kind of these entities or this type of energy. it's
And
sort
I
of sad
think, brother,
because
that we lost a lot of people in the paranormal community and cryptic community due to that. They go there and investigate it, and they just
I
don't know
think
that
so.
if they have a spiritual opening, that these things are attaching themselves to them, making them sick, because that's what they
Yeah,
do.
I think
And it,
exactly. I think it drains our energy, and those things that when they get possessed, they end up those things turn into physical illnesses. Whether you want to call it cancer or whatever, is all derived from being out of balance. You don't have harmony with your body. You're actually in disharmony with these spiritual entities. Why I always tell people, if you don't know anything about it, leave it alone.
I think
Don't.
we
Even
lost some people, man.
when I saw when I saw the orbs on this guy's video, I did notice that his were silver to whitish in color. You mentioned the orbs that are red, to be wary of them. I've heard that before too. I've heard that if they look like they're strange looking colors, there's a reason for that, and that sometimes Mother Nature shows it to you too. In Mother Nature, certain insects, snakes, even plants will have a very, what I call, very colorful, very bright colors. Generally, in most cases, they're poisonous, they're toxic, and it's Mother Nature's way of saying, "Stay away from me. I'm toxic. I'm harmful." Well, I
Yeah,
mean, sort of the spiritual entities do something very similar to that. They show you these colors that, as a stupid human, you're like, "Oh wow, that's a bright red orb. I want to get close to it." I'm not like that. I'm like, there's something going on there I don't understand, and I stay away from it. So I think our egos sometimes get the best of us.
yeah. And I guess it depends on what people are looking for, because some people say, "Okay, I'm gonna go look for a Bigfoot. I'm gonna go look for a dog man. I'm gonna look for the dog for the goat man," but they don't
Yeah,
prepare themselves to go in there for spiritual things because they're there, So they could be deceived, and this is like the DDN or shifter skinwalkers. If they can get you to believe the mimicking that they're doing, that's a spiritual opening. They can attack you spiritually. That's what
yeah,
people need. That's why I do the show, to try to bring the awareness to people, to be not just prepared for encountering a Bigfoot or a dogman or any kind of cryptid, but to be prepared just in case you encounter something that's like a DDN, a Wendigo, shapeshifter skinwalker, the Legion. Uh, these things you have to be prepared spiritually also.
yeah. I agree. I think part of it is knowledge, and people are getting involved in things they don't have the knowledge to know enough about, and it's just it's too dangerous.
The reason I go by myself, brother, is because I don't want to take somebody that's going to have a weapon on them, and next thing you know, the unclean spirit's going to enter the person, and the person is going to use a weapon on me.
Right, right.
So,
And
so,
I've
so
had that.
I'd rather go by myself.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I believe also in security in numbers. As I've
Yeah,
gotten older, I'll take one person with me. Usually, it's a member of my family that I can trust. But in the past, I have taken people that have gone with guns, and not really knowing them enough to know their intentions, they could be harmful to themselves and me. And shooting at a Bigfoot could very well end in my death or their death. So I've always I don't do that anymore. But early on, people would they'd come armed to the teeth. I was just going to show them evidence, like evidence of Bigfoot building structure, possibly find some footprints,
yeah.
and not knowing that they themselves weren't in harmony with themselves, and they were walking, instead of walking in a sense of love, walking in a sense of harmony with nature, they're walking in a sense of danger and fearfulness. And I
And
don't take it in
anger,
anger.
hatred,
Yeah,
and those are openings that the DDN will use
CDM.
to
Yeah, and
attack your
I don't bring those
energies.
people with me anymore because that affects your attitude too. If you're around people
Yeah,
that are hateful, angry, they're not one with nature. They don't understand that nature has some great lessons to teach you if you attentive and you're watching, nature can teach you that, yeah, nature is not forgiving either. And there's a lot of death and stuff, which is part of nature, but those are the lessons you need to learn. But if you take people with you that are fearful, dangerous, are reactionary, you get between them, their gun and whatever they're pointing at, they may end your life. So I don't take people like that. I had a girl that used to go with me. She was like that. She was an retired policeman, and she had a lot of fear and emotion in her, and it scared me. And so I stopped going, out into the forest with her. But I go by myself too most of the time. I'll take my son with me, and I trust him because I know him fairly well. And I always tell him to stay within 10 to 20 feet of me in sight or within touch. I says, don't go far. Don't take off and be 100 yards away from me on the other side of a grove of trees where I can't see you, because there's nothing I could do at that point.
Yeah,
So
I always pray before, even during, when activity picks up, and after. During is it's hot and heavy. I mean, it sounds that I've gone there by myself. I'm hearing all kinds of things. For example, sounds like wind chimes and sounds of music like a flute or whistle, like somebody's whistling. Then I hear the movement like they're running, they're screaming at me, telling me to leave and stuff like that.
I had a Native American guy from Alaska tell me that he lives in outside of Nome, I believe, but he's Alaskan First Nations or Alaskan Indigenous. He told me that among his people, his family, that they tell the children as they're growing up, they tell their children and other even white people that if you go out in the forest, not to whistle. He says because it draws all sorts of things toward you, not just Bigfoot either, but other things. So he says they don't whistle. And the thing is I play the flute, so I play the flute at home. But every now and then I'll go down by the river where I live, and I'll sit on a bluff and I'll play the flute. In one particular instance, I was playing my flute, and I finished playing this particular song. Yep. And I was playing a particular song, and as soon as I finished that song, from a distance, it sounded like it was probably 100 yards away from me. I hear an obvious knock, like a knock of confirmation. Now, again, I always tell people, just because I hear a wood knock, that doesn't immediately mean it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what it was.
Some things that can make wood knots like that. Woodpeckers and termites. If a tree is got termites, there's certain bugs besides the termites that I don't know, they make a certain noise, and inside the tree it'll echo and it'll sound like knockings, but many other things.
Just as I finished playing, though, I hear this wood knock, and I'm thinking, yeah, it could have been. We have it's like a pileated woodpecker makes that noise, and then there was another time I was down there, same reaction, but this time it was a double knock, and I remember reading this. There's this. It's among a certain tribe of people. I think they're in the Hoopa or the Colville Indian Reservation, and there's like 12 clans or 12. 12. There's like 12 different names. They all are part of the Colville, but there's like 12 bands of these Indians, and they were talking about this, and it's believed by other. There's other First Nations that also believe in this. There's this creature. It takes the appearance of a tree, and it moves throughout the forest, and it can actually it could disappear you. You could it'll make noises, it'll do things, and people will attempt to follow it not knowing it, but they have a particular name for it. But it's a creature.
I think I've heard of the story that it lures people into the woods because it mimics the voices of children, and they think it's the children that they're looking for. And it takes them deeper and deeper till they get lost.
They get lost, and then they disappear, and nobody ever sees them again. Yeah, that's what this guy was talking about. And he says they look like a tree. He says they move around, but he says they're a type of creature, entity, whatever you want to call it. And he says they and very depending on the tribe you talk to, they all have different names for it.
I
So
think,
this was going through my mind.
here
when
they
I was-
call it the one. It's created out of a blood sacrifice where people, when the natives used to fight against each other, some of the families didn't want to die in the hands of the natives, of the other natives, so they would do a circle and cut their wrists like a ritual.
Mhm.
So they would bleed out and form a circle. That's how they would die, holding their hands. You know, the whole the father would cut the wrist, and then from that circle, when the sun would rise, the one would rise. So it was like cursed. It was a curse, and the one was created. It was like a demigod, and he had the abilities to manifest from Mother Nature itself, from anything in Mother Nature, whether it be Mother Nature itself or anything on the land. So he's called the one. That's what they call it.
Interesting. Yeah, they had a name for it too that I think translated might have meant something like that, but I couldn't pronounce the word. It was like by the Lake tribe of the Colville Indians or something like that. But they talked about what you just mentioned there, how it lures them. It creates sounds or voices to imitate humans.
Yep.
And then draw them further into the forest. And then they also talk about there's certain mischievous little people that do very much the same thing, not just in the Pacific Northwest. We have them here in the Midwest too.
Duendes.
They
They
will,
call them duendes.
yeah.
Little people. I
Yeah,
got
little
a short
people.
reel of one. They stabbed me in my Achilles, man. I literally got stabbed by I thought I got bit by a snake as I
And
was
it's
going in
you
the
in
path.
your Achilles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're.
so I was
I
going in the
think
path. I turned around because I said, okay, I'm not going to go in there. I'm just going to go back home. When I turned around, boom, I felt the puncture, and I thought that a snake bit me. I thought that a snake had got me on my Achilles. So when I turned around, I took a picture to see what color snake it was. There was no snake. So I walk home, and when I get home, I'm telling my sister that something happened to my Achilles, and she's like, well, you got something sticking out of your Achilles. And I looked, it was like it was real small, like a little spear like this. It was very sharp, and I had to pull it out, and I started bleeding all over the place. And that's
Yeah.
why, because of that, it's how I got the blood clot on my leg.
Well, yeah, you were attacked by the little people for whatever reason.
Yeah, I got a show reel of it of what I took. I found when I took that picture, I got an image of something, so I'm gonna share it with you. When we're
Okay.
talking about little people, tell you we talk about
Little
everything
people.
here, man. Here in
It's funny you bring that up. I did an interview about 7 or 8 years ago. The little people I saw when I was 7 years old at my grandfather's house. I saw little
Oh
people.
wow, that would be interesting.
Yeah, there were two of them
you
on
wanna
my
share?
windowsill inside my room, and I
Yeah,
remember
you
I
can
was
share
so
the story,
scared.
brother.
What's that?
You can share it here.
Oh
While
yeah,
I look for the footage.
Yeah. I was about 7 years old though at the time, and we were having like hauntings. What my grandfather thought were hauntings. He'd hear knocks on his door. He'd hear movement through his house, like things walking. Footsteps. He'd hear that, and he thought they were ghosts of his passed on wife, my grandmother, who had died and passed on. I never did meet her, but I was it was during the summer. I was out of school. I was 7 years old, 7 or 8 years old. And I woke up early in the morning, and my window on the south side of my bedroom faced the morning sun, coming up from the east. And I look toward the window, and I see two silhouettes of two individuals. One individual was probably, I'd say, about a foot tall, a foot to maybe 13, 14 inches tall. And next to it was a female. I'd say she was about maybe 9 inches, 10 inches tall, shorter than him. She was wearing the equivalent of what I call, if you ever saw the series with Michael Landon called Little House on the Prairie,
Yeah.
Remember how the women dressed? They wear those, like what I call,
The
they were like
bonnets?
squash blossom dresses, like some of the Navajos wore.
Yes.
But she was wearing a dress like that, and he was wearing blue jeans with a tucked-in plaid shirt, a kerchief around his neck, and he was taller than her. They both looked like fraternal twins. He had red hair. She had red hair. He had, what do you call it? Not acne, but he had the freckles all over his face and his hands that were exposed, and she had freckles all over her face. She had pigtails, 2 braided pigtails. He had red hair, the kerchief. They both looked at me and smiled. And it scared me so much that I pulled the covers. I had a sheet I had over my top of me. Well, actually, it was like a cotton blanket. And I pulled the cotton blanket up over my face. And through the cotton blanket, I could see the rays of the sun coming through the window. And I could still see their silhouette standing on the inside of the window ledge, looking at me. And I was just frozen. I was under my covers, and I was like that for I don't know how many minutes, probably I'd say 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, just wondering how am I going to get out of this? And I'm hiding under the covers, looking at them, and I kept closing my eyes, thinking, I hope you go away. So when I opened my eyes, they would be gone, but then they were still there. After probably 5 minutes passed, my mom walks into the room. And at this point, my eyes were closed. I was back to hoping they weren't there. My mom goes, quit messing around. Get out from under the covers. It's time to get up. Well, I used to get up at like 6 a.m. at that age. And I think it was going on like 6:30. And she goes, it was it was on a weekend. My dad was, I think, working that weekend. And my mom was like, quit hiding from under the covers. I see you. Quit messing around. And I go, Mom, I saw something on the windowsill. Well, my mom ignored me. She just walked away, thought I'm just a typical kid making things up. It was my imagination. But I remember what they looked like. So years later, this is probably when I did the interview 8 or 9 years ago, I wanted to research what I saw. And there were a tribe of Native Americans that were moving through the area that were tied to the, I want to say, Potawatomi or the Miami Indian tribes. And they had stories of the little people in their area. And there was a creek that went behind my house called Hickory Creek. And these Native Americans, they migrated down this creek bed. They used it as that watershed as sort of a pathway to get from point A to B. And I knew the Potawatomis, and even my grandfather at one point told me that he saw this Native Americans basically migrating, walking down along this creek bed, which went behind our neighbor's house, which was the Ambrosinis, and they were walking this Hickory Creek. And I asked him about that, and he goes, yeah, he says this should be part of their territory before they started the Indian relocation program, and they shipped them all out to Kansas and Oklahoma. And so I looked into their stories about the little people, and they refer to them as the Paisa, which is sort of like the little Padres. They were very small, and from like Padre Mountain. They were very small in that they, some were tricksters, and some, depending on who you were, they would protect children. They were protectors of children also. And they, if you disappeared, people talked about women or children disappearing with them and then coming back. And they would estimate they would be gone for a day or two or a few weeks. They'd come back, and their parents were now dead and gone. Their grandparents were no longer alive. Like they had like
they went to a different dimension.
Like a different dimension, yeah. And it was like a sort of a missing time thing going on. But they talked about that they would They would also, children would disappear that were being abused by their parents, according to the Native American stories. If the parents were not good to their children, weren't attentive or whatever, they would give the children the opportunity to go with them, and they would have a good life. And of course, they would disappear, and
Wow.
the tribe would never see them again. But they called them the Paisa. And then I come to find out every tribe, every nation has their own name for them. There's literally, just like with Bigfoot, there's hundreds of different names of little people. Some are
I got
different.
the short reel here of the one that got me on my Achilles, man.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
Okay, let me share it with you, brother.
Oh, that's obvious.
Very short,
Very
like you
short.
say, like about a, I don't know, small man.
It even
You can
has
see
the
that.
proportions of a regular human.
Yeah, and he's
It
got
has the
something shiny
proportions.
in his hand. I think he had like the something dealing with magic because it's got something shiny in his hand. I think that's
Yeah.
what got me in my Achilles. I think
Well, they have a. I'm part German. My last name is Schneider, but they
Schneider.
have. I was studying the German language, and they have a name for all these various types of.
Einzelnes Weiße bitte.
Yeah, they
The
call them.
beer,
We call them elementaren Wesen. Elementaren Wesen meaning the elemental humans.
the elementals.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that's
elemental
what everybody
humans.
was saying, that it's like an elemental.
Yeah, and the
Because I think,
elemental. When I asked about it, and I did some reading up on it. There's a gentleman in Switzerland who has talked about the elementals. Uh, he's. I visited him at his farm in Switzerland, but he wrote several books, and he discussed the elementals. The Wesen, which just means human being, and they're called the Elementar and the Wesen, and he talks. There's different types. He's the brownies, the fairies, there's
I
specific
got a
names.
picture of a fairy also.
Yes. And he makes the distinction because he had one person ask him one time, well, what you witnessed, was that like a brownie? And he goes, no, that was a fairy or an elf. He says they're different. There's different types of little people. He even talks about the water sprites, which are these, so in Alaska, they call them water babies, but they're these little people that sort of live, they're connected to water, stream, lakes, water holes. They live in the water. But he went on to say that the elementar and Wesen, like these little people I encountered when I was almost 8 years old, that he says they're dimension changers. They switch between dimensions. They can be in our dimension and also go into their dimension. He says they're dimension changers or shifters. He says they can shift from our dimension to their dimension. And he says most of the ones that the Native Americans are familiar with, and most people in other countries are familiar with, these elementar and Wesen are they're nature spirits, and he says they're protectors of certain things in nature. Some protect the trees, some protect certain types of plants, some protect the waters, some protect the mountains, the rocks and the boulders and the bluffs. He says they all have they're protectors of nature, and he says they can act pretty resentful based on how you are as a person. These people that claim, well, they're vicious and they're mean and they're cruel. Well, if you're a bad person and you mistreat nature, that's probably how they're going to treat you. And at the time I had my experience, my friend, I was getting mistreatment from my mother. And also my father was, sort of at that time in my age, my parents were very dislocated from each other. So my father was sort of distant from his children, including me, and my mother was sort of abusive. So when I told this story to my Native American friend from Alaska, he says there seems to be a common denominator. He says up here, he says the little people come to the aid of children that are mistreated. So I always wondered if that's why they were smiling. They were trying to point me in the right direction to get past maybe my distrust of my parents. I don't know. But
Yeah,
that's something when I saw them, they were smiling at me, and it sort of freaked me out. I didn't know how to understand that because I was so young. I didn't know what to make of it.
yeah. I got a picture of the ferry also, and I don't know if he got mad because before I think the ferry happened after I got him stabbed. I can't remember. It's been a long time, but I got a picture of a ferry also that I can share with you. That she was in a creek bed. In the creek bed, uh, I was in the location where I got surrounded,
Mm-hmm.
and I could feel a lot of things around me, which I captured a lot of images of things that were there. But there was a low pitched sound that got my attention, and I started living that area, following the woods, and the low pitched sound sounded louder and louder, and it led me to the creek bed, and I could hear sound like somebody was singing, but a very low pitched sound in the creek bed. So I followed the sound and I took a picture. I got the image of it. Let me go find it, and I'll bring it up here. The image of the ferry. I believe she saved me, man, because I'm thinking something was going to happen. I don't, and I've seen her numerous times because she went to my house. I can tell you some of the things. I think there was, when we talk about ferries, we can't leave out pixies because there's pixies
Pixies,
also.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny how when I talked to Swiss, this Swiss, this Swiss gentleman from Switzerland, he told me, he says, they're all different types of little people. And he says, and most of them, if not all of them, he says, he says, they change dimensions. They walk between their dimension and ours. But he says, the ones he's familiar with, they're all protectors of various elements of nature. He says, some protect the weather, some protect the trees. He says, some are protectors of the water. He says, generally, some aren't due into the destruction of nature because of human beings. He says they're not too friendly toward us as human beings as they might have been in the past when there was a balance in nature. So that's trying to see if I can enlarge this.
That is a grain of grass over here to the left, and the ferry is over here to the right, sitting on like
Oh, I see her. She's sort of whitish.
Yeah.
Very whitish and very, yeah. And he didn't make the distinction. He had somebody say, when I've been out in the forest, he says, I've seen brownies. Are they the same as pixies or elves? And he goes, no, those are totally separate. He says they all are separate and they all have their purpose in nature. But we call them elementar and Vesson. And the ones I saw, the two I saw, were connected to the land because I was always outdoors climbing trees, messing with the insects and snakes. And I think they took an interest in me because I was always out in nature doing things. And yeah, that definitely looks very fairy-like.
Yeah.
It looks like it just sort of in repose and sitting there. I see the shoulders, the head, the arms.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like the equivalent of what I would call sort of like a skirt or a dress.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And
Yeah,
I got believe it or not, I also got a short reel video of a leprechaun, man.
Well, they're definitely little people too. Yeah. The Paisa that I saw, the two, they could have passed for Irish leprechauns. They had the freckles and everything, red hair, and one was dressed. He had the basically flannel shirt, button-down shirt, long sleeve shirt, jeans with a belt on, didn't have suspenders, had a kerchief tied around his neck with the knot in front, not turned around like a cowboy does. The knot was in front, and it had what appeared to be like the boots back in the old days that pioneers wore, like gold, people that were like miners or prospectors.
Yes.
He had those type of boots on. It was like something right out of Little House on the Prairie. He was dressed like Michael Landon. And this was before. And then the girl, which I believe was his sister, she had a dress on, reminded me of the dresses that Amish people wear, but it was more decorative and had floral design on it. It reminded me when I came across a picture of they were either the Hopis or the DDN of the woman wearing that dress, and it was called the squash blossom dress. And then I recognized it. They're still dressed in this fashion, and this is back in let me see, I was born in 52, so it was 1959, 1960 when I saw them. And I'll never forget it. It's like it happened yesterday. And so I don't know if they were protecting me or what the deal was, but when they were smiling at me, they had an interest. And I'm not saying that's special in any way. I think they probably have appeared to many children, and children keep it a secret, because how can you tell your parent about it? And my sister experienced too. My sister, who was 2.5 years older than me, she saw them too. Her bedroom was upstairs, and she saw them a day or two after I saw mine. And she came. We had an inside stairway that came from the second story of my grandfather's house, and he had two bedrooms upstairs. He had his bedroom, and then he had a guest room. My sister Cheryl stayed in the guest room, and she came 2 days later after I had my experience. All of a sudden, we hear the sound of the upstairs door opening, and her come screaming, running down the inside stairs to the living room. The living room inside door flies open, and she comes screaming in the room, and she's crying, telling my mom and my dad, this was on a weekend, I'm never staying up in that room, that bedroom you made me move up into, where my grandpa, my grandpa lived upstairs. She says, I'm never staying up there. And my dad says, why? She says, there's little people running around in my bedroom. She says, I'm not staying in there. She says it scared her. She was crying and screaming. She was never going up there again. And so they took her bed, her twin bed, and they moved her downstairs and put her in my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have the nerve to tell her, because I was, a couple years younger than her. I felt, in my mind, I'm thinking, you're not going to be any safer down here because they've been in my bedroom. I just saw them. And so she said she saw them walking around, running around under the bed and over to the baseboard. We had those old baseboard, what I call radiant heaters. So they were running around behind the radiant heater, running around the baseboard. She saw two of them. And I'm thinking to myself, she's telling my dad this, and he's trying to reassure her, don't worry, you didn't see anything. It was nothing.
Wow.
And I told her a few years ago, before she died, I says, I just want to tell you, I did see the little people too, so you weren't seeing things. And she just kept saying, yeah. She says she agreed with me. But she passed away a year and a half ago. But
Sorry to hear that, brother. My
yeah,
condolences to you.
yeah. But I just, I had confirmation, and I didn't have the heart to tell her, hey, you're going to be in my bedroom now. And, they moved her spare bed into my bedroom. I said, you're not going to be any safer down here because they're in my room too. So I believe they were throughout that house. I went back to that house a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago, with my wife, and we drove up on, this is a brick house my grandfather built. And my wife was spooked out. They had a notice for sale on the door. Who the real estate agent was, it was up for sale. And when we drove back there, the whole place felt haunted. My wife, I asked her, I said, you want to get out of the car and sort of walk around? And she said, I'm not getting out of the car. My wife was freaked out. And I said, yeah, this is where I've seen the little people. I said, right here on this property. My grandfather came over from Yugoslavia, from Croatia, when he was 16 years old. And he moved to Illinois and he built his house with his bare hands. And my mom got married to my dad. They moved into that first floor of that house. And that's where I had my little people experience. And when I went
There
back
he is,
there,
little
yeah,
leprechaun. He's
you have
got a
another.
yellow
Oh, I
hat.
see him.
Yeah, and then he's
Very,
gonna take off. Laters. Yeah, it's. I got a bigger footage of it, but I did. This is a close up of it. He's gonna be moving. Check it out. There it is. It's got like a red thing around his face, a little hat, and then he's gonna take off to the left. I have a bigger video of it somewhere, but yeah, it's a little leprechaun. I have the bigger picture of it. You still here, brother DS? I think he froze. I think I lost him. Maybe he'll come back on. Wow. Yeah, he froze up. Come on, pixies and leprechauns and fairies, leave them alone. We're having a good show here tonight. Maybe he'll come back on in a moment. I hope everybody is enjoying the show here tonight. Yeah, I had to move fast to get this. I thought I was connected. My battery wasn't charging, and it's fixing to give out, so I was able to hook it back up. But pretty interesting. Yeah, let me refresh the link. That's what I'm going to do. Refresh the link. I'm refreshing the link. I'm dropping a new link. There you go. There it is. Pretty interesting are the topics that we're talking about here tonight. It's good when you have videos and pictures to share, because it makes it more, with the story and that he's saying and stuff. It makes it a lot better, I believe we did see something and witness something, whether it was a Bigfoot or not, only he knows. But something was messing with him that night out there in the woods near where he walked. Something was trying to see what I guess he was trying to find an opening, He witnessed something, puzzle with shaped skinwalkers. I know there's shadow figures out there also. Ugly spirits. When there's water flowing and there's limestone, something's going to use that energy to manifest. So a lot of things when it comes on to what could it be? Was it a Bigfoot? Was it a shaped skinwalker? Was it a spirits, unclean spirits?
Yeah, brother DS is always welcome here, man. You more than welcome anytime you want to jump on here with us. You know, if you want to present something to the viewers, you know, I can we can do a show together and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I know you say you have some pictures of certain things. If you want to share them here, you're more than welcome, brother. Sharing is caring. You know how we say here in Spiritual and Cryptid Encounters. Rick says, me and my daughter were jumped by the same huge muscular shadow person probably around 16 years ago, and I will never forget it. They're out there, man. The house where I used to live, I got footage here where one passes right in front of me. If you want to see that footage, if you want to see the footage of the shadow figure that I'm doing alive in my house, and the old house I used to live here in Temple, and the shadow figure comes out of nowhere and passes right in front of me in my room. You wanna, you know, we'll talk about shadow figures. I got that footage. If you want to see it, if you want to see the footage, give me a thumbs up and I'll share it with you. Dear sister, beyond the box. Yeah, I can relate to everything that he's saying. You know, I know he's being genuine, and I can relate to his stories. That everything that he's talking about is because he experienced this and he witnessed it. I can tell that he's being genuine. But I will share, since he's talking about Rick Chaos. I got something for Rick Chaos here with his dark shadows figures. They always try to attack our children, man. They're always trying to lure our children, trying to find an opening, trying to deceive our children. You know, for example, you know, like he was saying, if there's anger and you know, there's discipline and hardships that they surface up. There's a certain saying in Spanish, uh, "Cosa buena, casa limpia, cosa buena," which means clean house, good things, and then you have casa mugrosa, cosa mala, a dirty house, uh, bad things. You know, cosa mala, you know, unclean spirits, whatever. Uh, in saying that, when there's a lot of anger, violence, and things happening in that nature, that's what it attracts. And I'm more sure that's why he was seeing a lot of things that he was seeing. So I'm going to share the one where things were happening in my house, and it just surfaced up in the old house. To my understanding, that house, in that room that I slept in, somebody had passed away in there. So I'm going to show you the unclean spirit of what I captured that day. Let me go find it real quick. I hope DS comes back. Maybe I don't know, maybe his battery might have died on his phone. I'm not sure. But I'm going to share this video of this dark shadow figure in broad daylight. I mean, inside my house while I'm doing it live. Okay. There we go. Here we go, brothers and sisters. And for any new people here, welcome to Spiritual and DDN Cryptid Encounters. We talk about everything here. Yeah, and if anybody's got a story, Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have open mic nights where you're allowed to come on here, just like DS did, you know, first time that he came on here, and he was sharing everything, you know, everything that he's experienced, or a little portion of what he's experienced. Uh, yeah, you're more than welcome to jump on here, share a story, you know, what you witnessed, what you experienced. So I'm going to show you, and if anybody wants to come on after share this, you're more than welcome. So I'm going to share this short reel of what happened to me in my own home where I used to live. So here we go. I'm going to
Take the volume off and push play. Oh, this is here you go.
Your health is staying physically active. You don't have to lift a lot of weights. You don't have to go for long runs. So long you're doing something. Oh, y'all seen that, brothers and sisters? Something is pissed off. So they like. I know y'all seen that. I just seen like a dark shadow figure pass right in front of me, and it went past me by the light. Your health is staying physically active. You don't have to lift a lot of weights. You don't have to go for long runs. So long you're doing something. Oh, y'all seen that, brothers and sisters?
Okay. And here's a slow version of it. Push play here. There it was. There you go. I'll leave it there so y'all can check it out for a little bit. Yeah, I got that one too. If y'all want to see that one, when I got surrounded by darkness, I can share it with y'all. I'll drop. I think I dropped a new link here. If anybody wants to come on and share a story with the members here, you're more than welcome. Yeah, I can share the other one. The other one is crazy too, where it was all pitch dark around me. Yeah. Yeah, we're almost 3 hours right now. It was a pretty good show tonight here with DS. Appreciate you, DS, jumping on here and sharing your experience, your wisdom and knowledge, brother. See, we all can coexist. Doesn't matter whether it's spiritual, paranormal, cryptid. We can coexist with one another and just listen and you know sharing is caring. Uh, but there's a lot of similarities with the stories, experiences. You're like, hey man, that sounds very. When I listen to him, it's like, man, that sounds very familiar. The activity that I would capture when I'll be in Elms Grove, or the things when I was in the military. I was in the military 10 years. The things that I would capture out in the woods at nighttime, I would train there during the day, and at nighttime, I would see all kinds of things out in the woods. When you could see things of the spirit. Yeah, I think I have another one where it's all dark around me. Let me find it for y'all. The one that which one is it? Is it this one? Let me see if it's this one right here, and I'll place it. Oh yeah. Let me see. All right, here we go. I hope real chaos that I hope it wasn't a succubus that was rubbing your back. If it was rubbing your back, succubus, you say you were depressed, There could be an opening, spiritual opening, and that's how the succubus or incubus is attacked. You know, is rubbing. You said it was rubbing your back, and maybe it was trying to attach itself to you. The bed. That's where they attack when you're in your bed. I got a picture of the succubus because I had an experience. They just won't rub your back, man. They'll do other things to you. They'll attack you physically and sexually. Succubus and incubus. That's what they do. But I'm going to share the other one that Sister Rain was talking about. Here we go. All right, let me get this big here. Starting from the beginning here. Darkness. So it happened. There it is again. We tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. If there's any unclean spirits here, welcome. It's a light. Still working right. Tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. You're not allowed here. Leave. You're not welcome in my household. We take authority over you in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ's name, Heavenly Father, send your heavenly angels. Do a cleansing of my home. Get rid of the unclean spirits that are coming into my house. We tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. Leave. This we pray in your name, Heavenly Father. Amen. Look at the time frame that all this happened with the darkness. So it happened. There it is again. We tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. If there's any unclean spirits here, welcome. It's a light. Still working right. Tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. You're not allowed here. Leave. You're not welcome in my household. We take authority over you in Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ's name, Heavenly Father, send your heavenly angels. Do a cleansing of my home. Get rid of the unclean spirits that are coming into my house. We tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. Leave. How you doing, brother? Yes, we pray in your name.
I'm doing good.
I was showing this one of the.
Look at the time frame that all this
what happened to me at nighttime. I was doing a live at my other house. I bought me a new house. I left the other location.
So
My
it
phone
happened.
is dead. I wanted to
There it
say
is
thanks for
again.
having me on.
We tie Brother Rico in Jesus Christ's name. If there's any unclean spirits here, welcome. It's a
Rick, I'm
light.
on.
Still
I'm
working
on.
right.
Let me take this off for right now.
I'm saying goodbye to them.
There you go. I shut off the volume so you could speak.
It's pretty late here. I'm probably going to have to go to bed. It's getting past my bedtime by like 3 hours.
Oh boy. Hey
Yeah,
man, whenever you wanna do a live, I normally go live at 11 Central Time. I could always
Okay.
go 1 hour earlier, like at 10 Central Time. What's your time right now?
Right now it's 2:52. It's going on 3 o'clock.
Oh, same time as mine.
Okay. I wanted to
My
tell
show
you.
is always at nighttime.
I wanted to say thank you, Abe, for having me on. I really appreciate you having me on and sharing the knowledge with me and with your viewers and partaking of some of this information that needs to be shared. I really appreciate that. And thank you for being cordial and a great host. And in many ways, you inspire me. So thank you for sharing all that information.
Hey man, anytime you want to jump on here, brother, you're more than welcome. Tuesdays, Thursdays, or you want to bring some of your evidence of what you've captured out there, you're more than welcome. Just let me know.
I will, and I'll be sending it some of it I'll be sending on to via your email or however, so you can have access with it. I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, appreciate you, brother. I believe your story is 100%. You're legit, 100%, man. I felt it.
because there's a lot of people don't understand there's a lot of similarities between the spiritual and the cryptid. A lot of the same things happen. It just so say it's spiritual, something is cryptid, but they're there. The same things that happen. You know, when we hear disembodied voices, when we hear the knockings,
Yes, yes.
the languages that are being spoken, the mimicking of women, of children, of
And
animals.
I want to leave this with you and your viewers too. You know, we're human beings.
Yes.
We're both physical and we're both spiritual at the same time. And as you know, and people among this world have these abilities. They have the abilities to walk between dimensions, and they have the abilities to read your mind and have telepathy. So when they say the cryptids share a lot of things in common with the spiritual nature of things, we as humans do too. So never discount yourself and your own abilities. I call it consciousness abilities, the ability to develop yourself. And I think you've shown that in the spades just by the evidence you've shown me that you sort of have your foot in the water of the spiritual world, sort of
Yes.
speak, which I think is very interesting.
But I really appreciate your brother coming on here. Everybody could relate to what you were saying here. Everybody liked you. You know, I think Sister Rain said that they're inviting you if you want to go to Paranormal Table. Brother Josh, I know you know Brother Josh Turner. Is a bigger platform. That they're trying to invite you over there. That there's some, I think Dr. What was his name? Richard. Some of the
Oh
things.
yeah, you're talking about the Paranormal Roundtable. I think I've heard of them. Yeah, man.
I think the Sister Rain is a moderator over there, and she said that they would love to have you over there.
Well, I appreciate that. Tell them thank you, and I'm like
And you always got the open invitation here, brother.
Oh yeah, no problem, Abe. Many times, Abe, I'm sort of maybe like you in a way. I stay under the radar. I don't. I'm not special. I'm just like anybody else. I'm just a retired working
man. You make
man.
sense, brother. I really like that you enjoy what you shared about the. You know what all happened to me when I was going through the same things you were going through with violence because discipline. You know, back in those days, the discipline was harsh.
Yes.
From my mothers and you get whooped. I mean, like really whooped. Not nowadays. I'm talking about with a belt, with a whatever they got in their hands, they're going to whoop you. So what happens when you get whooped that way? It's kind of like child abuse in a sensible way. You get mad. Well, what attracts to that is evil.
Yes, and nowadays,
happened to me.
If you treated your children that way nowadays, you'd be turned into DCFS or Children and Family Services.
Yeah.
It wouldn't go well. So that's why I'm very careful about. My mom has passed away. I respect the life she went through, but again, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect.
You know, those before, brother, they used to get whooped with a whip.
Yes, I remember those stories. I always remembered going into my house, and if I saw my dad had his belt off and it was sitting on the table, I was in for a whooping.
Ooh.
So, I was just sort of, I remember those days.
I remember my grandfather, he was already old, and that was always tell me stories that he would whoop him with a whip, and it's like, man, I was a kid, so I never seen him, and then one day I seen him pull out the whip, and they're trying to run away from me, like, it's like, man, I got so upset with my grandfather because I didn't think he was that way. So I grabbed the whip, and there was a little hole in the wall, and I shoved the whip in the hole. He was mad for about 2-3 weeks, talking about, you better carry my whip and my whip. Of course, he passed away. They did a renovation.
It was a different time.
And
it was a different time. And and it's hard to explain that to people that are younger than you. The life you went through with your grandfather and your parents. That was a tough time for people back then, and we just sort of accepted it. And I think that type of discipline, it created, what they say, diamonds are made from high pressure.
Yes.
I think people need that. They need to have that, I guess if you want to call it the the stress that creates the striving, that gives you the drive. Without that, we're all a bunch of wimps then. We're all a bunch of wimps and we're afraid of our own shadow. And I don't think that's good.
It was called tough. Oh, there's a duende. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. But thank you for having me on. I should.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Anytime.
Love you
Tuesdays and
guys.
Thursdays is open mic night here.
I'll remember that. I'll probably try to get on earlier at 11 o'clock so I can get to bed on time.
Yeah, or I might go an hour early. Thursday we'll have another open mic night, man. I love you. I love to hear the stories, and you got more, man.
Yeah, I only have. Well, I'm 73, so I got about 60 years worth of stories.
Oh wow, there we go. That's
So
what I'm talking
I
about.
got a few to throw out there.
When I was in the army, that's all I would talk about, stories to my staff sergeant. He loved pulling me on staff duty with him because I would keep him awake, just talking about all kinds of things. You know, I was like a jab. Night times, just talking and talking and talking.
Well, I'll tell you when we meet up in the near future. I'll tell you about my visitation with a gentleman in Switzerland I talked to you about earlier. A lot of people call him the UFO prophet, but his actual name is Billy Edward Meyer, more commonly referred to as Billy Meyer. He's now 89 years old. I met him. I went to the
Erlangen, Germany was my first duty station. So
Yeah.
I got to be by, I was this location called Birch's Garden or something like that, near near Switzerland. You had
Near
those
the
things to
Alps.
go up to the mountains.
Yes, the Alps. Yeah, he actually saw 2 Bigfoot when he was in Himalayas, but I met him. He also is having these visitations going on for probably close to 84 years now. He's had visitations with these, I guess the First Nations would call them the Star People. He's been meeting with these people for over 85 years, and he's had people from Philip Deer, the famous medicine man, and Beaver Chief actually went to Switzerland and visited him because he liked their way of life. They were familiar with the Star People. They knew Billy had met the Star People, so I met Billy. And I don't consider myself a human lie detector. All I can tell you.
I'll be right back, brother. I got to open up the door over here for her.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. I am back.
Okay. What I was
But
saying.
yeah, man, it was a very interesting show tonight.
Yeah.
All the members liked you, brother. Sharing your stories.
Well, I try to come across just as a normal person. I'm no different than anybody else. But like I was saying regarding Billy, I tried to, when I met him, I can sort of gauge a person and tell if they're telling the truth or if they're lying. This guy is honest. He was as honest as the day is long. He told the truth. Something seriously is going on in his life, and all I can tell people is if you ever get a chance, go to Switzerland, meet him. But he's been buried on the internet. The U.S. government doesn't want anybody to know about him. He's probably the most suppressed story in modern human history, and I was fortunate enough to meet him in my lifetime. When I found the great, basically medicine man, speaker Philip Deer had went to Switzerland. He's, I believe, Muskoke, and he met him, and Beaver Chief met him, but he actually has been to Arizona and has met many members of the Hopi, and I believe some of the Zunis, and he met many members of their tribe. So he's a one-armed farmer. That's why I could explain it. He's a hardworking guy like everybody else, and I leave it up to people to make up their own decision. I don't want people to believe anything. I think we're
Yes.
all our own detectives. You're a good detective. You're out there capturing evidence with cameras, getting your personal encounters, and you're getting it on video and audio. So, I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
Is it they have to identify themselves to the spiritual law? So if they're not gonna show themselves to me as a manifestation, they still have to identify themselves. So whether they do, they photobomb me on the pictures, or I capture them on video, because they're showing themselves. They got to show themselves. So then when I capture them on video, that's when I create the short reels, so I can
Yeah.
show the members and people the evidence.
Yeah. See, you're not only just proving it to yourself, you're proving it to anybody who wants to look into it with depth and see
Yeah.
the evidence that you have. And if people want to deny the evidence, that's on them. That's all on them, and there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do about that.
Yeah,
And I'm,
there's some people that have done that, but it's because they don't believe in the spiritual aspect of things like I do.
yes.
So that's okay. But the evidence is there.
Well, even science has proven 99.9% of the visible of the world, of the universe, is not visible by our human eye. We only capture less than 1%, which is visible in the color spectrum, in the physical spectrum. The rest of the world, the universe, is dark matter. You can't perceive it with the human eye. So what you're experiencing is all this energy that you can't capture with the five senses. You might catch smell, you might catch the occasional movement through hearing, but that's sort of what I call a leftover of the perception that you're picking up. So
Uh,
it's very hard to, and our technology is as advanced as we think our technology is. We have way farther to go to develop our technology. If we, our cameras a lot of times don't capture what we think we are seeing with the naked eye. Many times our cameras won't capture it. And I find that is true with audio. I'll hear things audio with my naked ear,
yeah.
but I won't capture it on my my microphone. It just, our technology is got a ways to go.
Yeah, some of this manifestations or cryptids. I've seen one that was like the one you're talking about, that was low to the ground. It looked human, but it wasn't human because he had fur on it and he had black dots on his body. Its face looked human, but it wasn't. He had fur, but the face, the eyes were white, and he had looked like the nose was upward, kind of like a bat, and he just kept on. And in his ears, he had black on it, like a woofer, but it was black on the ears, and he was using vibration. He could not see because the sun was still out, and it was very low to the ground. I'm talking about like the inch off the ground, but it's nothing but muscle covering the whole path. Probably like I would say like 14 feet long or tall. Maybe we would be standing up, and I was frozen in the path. I would have moved because he just kept on. I could see the ears vibrating, and then he kept on looking like this, like a sonar or some sort. So I didn't move. I stayed frozen, and once it went across the path completely, I waited a little bit, then I moved. It seemed like it could detect through the radar like a vibration, kind of thing.
Sort of
I
like
know
a
where
bat,
I know
like
where it went to.
like a bat.
But it wasn't a bat. It had the ears, the face look, the nose looked like of a bat, but the face wasn't of a bat. You could see the face kind of looked human, but his eyes were white, but the ears were black. And I know where it went.
That is weird.
You know where it went?
I
In that
wonder.
area, it went underground, brother. There is a pillar. It had a big old metal plate that was pulled to the side.
Mhm.
It went down the stairs into the sewer system.
Subterranean.
I know
Such
where
wonderful.
it's at. I know where it went to. Something there, and those pillars, they're all along the creek. There's pillars everywhere. So only God knows how many of them are. It's something that's cryptid,
Right.
right? Because I seen it. No, it did disappear. I could hear the braces breaking and everything. But I seen how it looked. It had like black dots all over his body, kind of like a hyena bobcat, but it was human. The legs wasn't. The legs look human, but it was different. It's like I think I drew a picture of it a long time ago when I witnessed it, but it was
See,
big.
see,
I did not. I haven't gone in there. I haven't gone in there to try to investigate. No.
you're almost describing what I call, it's a type of cryptid, but I call them chimeras, and I think they were created in ancient time via ancient technology. They call them chimera, but think of like the phoenix, the sphinx,
I got
all
a
these
picture of
various
the face
creatures.
if you want to see it, brother, because
Sure.
I think it will follow me around all the time. It would try to charge me. I could hear it breaking the trees, and I'll get up with my guard like this, waiting for impact, but it would stop. It wouldn't. I think it tried to attack me numerous times, but I put my guards up in the defensive mode, but it was huge. Let me see if I can show you.
There's a dogman that also has the appearance of a hyena also.
Let me see if I can find the picture of the face here.
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
dogman that has the
I'm
appearance
gonna
of a hyena.
yeah, check it out. I'm gonna show you how it looks because I believe it was it. I caught it in a different time. I guess it was following me around, and it was. I mean, it was like on like a stealth mode. I guess you could say.
Okay.
They're very very sneaky, man, and it was like an inch off the ground, like not even an inch, like half an inch off the ground, nothing but muscle. Let me see if I could
It
send
sounds
this.
like it has the attributes of several different creatures combined into one. Again, I refer to those as chimeras. That's a Greek word that means in ancient times, during the times of Atlantis, they created these chimera creatures, which were several different animals combined with human features. Some referred to as cherubim and seraphim. Look into Easter Island. They had these bird-like creatures called the mots that were chimera creatures.
There it is. There's the face. The nose is real up like a bat, kind of a bat-like. The nostrils are like upward.
Upward, yeah, that's all a bat. That is strange.
That's it right there. It would always follow me around in Elms Grove.
Is it in the foliage of a bush or tree?
Tree, yeah. But look at the face.
That is unusual. I could expand that.
I can do a close up of the face if you want me to. You can see
Yeah.
it better.
I'm trying to look at it on my phone.
I'll do a close up of the face.
I see its eyes, its nose.
Let me send another photo of it.
It's very bat-like nose.
Because I think I might have a night photo when it came at me at nighttime also. It made like a growling sound. And I took a picture where I heard the growling sound and I captured an image that looks kind of like this, but in nighttime. Okay, let me share this one with you. I know you were going already, but I just wanted to share this with you, brother. Because the story that you said,
appreciate it,
the one that you're seeing. Here we go.
No, I appreciate it, Abe. Okay.
I wish I could get it closer than that.
Yeah, I see it pretty well now. It has a
Yeah,
very,
the nostrils are high.
Yeah, I see that.
Like
It doesn't have a what they call it doesn't have a human-like nose at all.
no.
It has upturned nostrils, like I guess like a bat. Its head is very weird shaped. I can't say I know what that is. It's very unusual.
All I know is there was one day, brother, that I was out there because something had lured my son into the woods, and I was out there with all my gear on, military gear, camoed, and trying to look for the man in black that lured my son into the woods.
Hmm.
As I'm out there, there's like I see all these police cars and troopers and black SUVs, like a bunch of them, and they're calling my name to get out of the woods, to tell me that I'm in danger and all this stuff, to come out of the woods. But I don't go out of the woods, because I see all these black SUVs that look like military vehicles. Then I start seeing this black helicopter with the beams going through searching, and they're like, "You need to get out of there. You're in danger. You're in danger." Like they know that something's there.
Do you think it could have been a military asset?
I would hear. I sensitive ears. I'm a tanker, right? I could hear low pitch whistle at nighttime, and that marked vehicle, the black chopper, would always come at nighttime,
Mm-hmm.
searching for something there with the high
See,
beams.
I think if the military are aware of these creatures, they may weaponize them, whether they biochip them or whatever to control them. And maybe this one got out of control and they're trying to get it back under control. And you just happen to wander into the field and come into contact with it, and they knew you probably would have been history had you stayed. It almost reminds me of a type of dog man.
I
It
don't
reminds me
know.
of a type
It's
of dog man
either I would have
because,
been history or it would have been history because
yeah. I mean,
because
I
I
have
would
a
have fought it.
picture. I got a facial picture of dog man from here in Illinois that I should send you. But
Yeah,
the guy, my friend who I do research with, he has seen the hyena type. There's a one that looks like a fox. There's the one I got a picture of that looks like the head of a pit bull. It has the head of a pit bull and is very strange looking. And I caught it when I was zooming from a distance with my camera, and I caught it from, I want to say 85, 95 yards away. And I
wow.
zoomed in on it, and I later on when I was scrubbing through the video, I caught it. I got like 15 frames of it. I think I was filming at 30 or 40 frames per second. But I know I got it for a minimum of a second at least. I had plenty of frames, but I showed it to my friend and he goes, "Oh yeah." He says it matter of factly. He goes, "That's the pit bull type." And I go, "What?" Well, he's seen 5 dogmen cross into his backyard when he lived in Wisconsin. And he says, there's a diversity of appearances. He says, they don't all look the same. He says some have a hyena appearance. He's seen some that have the look of a Doberman, some that look like the head of a wolf.
Yeah.
He says they're all different. He says there's a variation in this, if you want to call it a species, there's a variation in their appearances. And he says people make a mistake. They think there's just a generic dog man and they all look the same. And that's the confusion with Bigfoot too. There's such a variation in the species regarding Bigfoot, people end up conflating or misunderstanding what they're looking at.
Here's one that looks like I don't know what, but you be the judge. Let me share it with you. The one sometimes I use it on the show for World Wednesdays. Let me see if I can pull them up here. Yeah, this one here. No, we'll talk about shaped skinwalkers. This is acting very weird right now. Okay. I guess it didn't send me the photo that I just sent to myself. Oh, okay. There we go. This one I always use them for Werewolf Wednesday, but check out this one, brother. It's got the big ears. It's got like a white nose. I don't know.
That is unusual.
This one is actually on top of a tree. I got the original photo of it, but tomorrow I'll probably show it tomorrow, Werewolf Wednesday. But this is one. I don't know if it's like werewolf or cat-like, like a because of the ears or where the ears are. I don't know.
It looks feline. It looks
Yeah.
it looks feline like, and its eyes look very cat-like.
Yeah. I've seen a couple. That one's black. Then I see one that looked like a like a the one with the dots, like a cougar
Hyena.
or hyena. Was at the park with my nephew. We were talking. He wanted to join the military, and there was a big old. We kept on hearing something scratching on the tree up on top. We thought it was a tree lizard,
Mm-hmm.
and then this big old branch just broke, and it landed behind us. It's an acorn tree, and when the branch landed, something landed beside it, and he was standing on twos, and he was looking at me. I looked at it. It turned around, and this one was like 7.5 feet tall, and he ran into the creek. It broke the branches, went to the creek. You could hear the water splashing. They came back into the park and ran across the park. It was running on twos.
Yeah, I know the world is stranger than we can even imagine.
I'm just showing you this one, brother. You say
Yeah,
it looks more. I do
Very
have another
strange.
video that's on the move. It's crazy, man. But I can probably show it tomorrow if you want to, because I know.
Yeah, man, I should. Like I said, I know I said goodbye earlier.
Yes, sir.
But
Appreciate you, man.
I should. I'll revisit you. We'll share some photos. I'll send you some of my videos, some of my clips, and some of my photos, and you can make up your mind what you're looking
Yeah,
at. 'Cause
yeah.
some of mine are unusual too. I can't put my finger on it, but they're definitely physical creatures. And like yours, that one with the cat. I talked to my friend Ricky and we discussed Dogman, and he goes, I believe he brought it up to me one day. He says, I believe there is a feline version of Dogman. He says they have more cat-like features as opposed to canine features, is how he explained it to me. And you sort of showed me that picture you showed me would support that. That's sort of evidence to that claim. So
Then
there's
I have the one that
something.
looks like a werewolf. Well, it looks freaked out, man. I don't know what it is, but I
It's
have
a
a short
cat.
one.
I call it it's a feline version. It's like a cat man is what I refer to him. I call him cat man.
The cat man.
Yeah, cat man, and that's sort of because he also has photos of Dog Man 15 feet off the ground in a tree, and it looks
Yeah,
like it
this
looks
one
like
that I just showed you, the
yeah,
original picture, it's on top of a tree.
yeah. That's how his was.
Looking
His
at
was
me.
up in a tree, but it was all white,
Ah,
like what do you call him? What's that?
albino.
It was like a white dog. What's that one dog? It's like a chow. It was like a white chow, but it was up in the tree, 15 feet off the ground. And yeah, he told me. I also have some casted prints of Dogman that I'd probably show you that I casted in a state park where I live near from about 15 minutes from where I live. There, I casted three impressions of Dogman print, and it's unlike any print I've ever seen. Doesn't match a wolf print, dog print. There's no animal I could come up with that even matched this canine-like print. And it had 5 digits, not 4. The dew claw, which is usually up the foreleg on a dog, this dew claw was down and appeared like a thumb on the paw. And it had a heel. And the heel was, there's no heel like this on any dog or cat I've ever seen. It was, I want to say, 9.5 to 10 inches long by, I think, almost 5.5 to 6 inches wide. And it was very weird looking. And it was an indication that it was walking upright bipedally on its rear legs. The front paws look totally different. And I don't have casts of the front paws. My friend, he has pictures of the front paw impressions of a different Dogman, and they're totally different. They pulled their fingers in and they walk on almost like their knuckles, like this. It's how and that's the impression you get when you take their front paws when they're walking on quadrupedally in all 4. You see what looks like knuckle impressions.
Yeah.
Because they don't extend. And another thing, he said when he saw them physically walk into his yard, he described their hands or front paws as raccoon or squirrel-like. You know how squirrels or raccoons grab things and their thumb is alongside their 4 digits and they bend their hand this way? Their thumb isn't opposing. He said their hands are more raccoon-like or squirrel-like. They're not like human hands. So, and I've done a lot of research with them, and I even have video of Eyeshine from Dogman near his cabin, walking around with this little Dogman puppy on its shoulders.
Wow.
And
yeah, I got Eyeshine, red Eyeshine also at nighttime. I went there at like 3 a.m. and I caught some movement. You know, I got that red Eyeshine and I got white Eyeshine. But the red Eyeshine is the one that you have to worry about.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned about that, or a lot concerned. And also Dogman will come in closer than Bigfoot. They'll come right up to you. They'll come right up.
Oh, yeah.
They come up and close.
Right there by you.
Or even at nighttime, Bigfoot seems to always seem to conceal or stay behind something or away from you. Dogman will come right up close. And when I was at his cabin was, I want to say, 3.5 feet above the ground. It was blocked up, so it was sitting above the ground. He hadn't poured a foundation yet, and I had to sleep on his floor for a week because he had no beds or nothing. I put an air mattress, a little thin air mattress with a sleeping bag on it. But they would crawl underneath the cabin, and you could hear them underneath the floorboards where you were laying, moving underneath you. And we determined that he had both Bigfoot and Dogman around his property.
They'll be running I used to have a mobile home when I had my experiences. They were literally run on top of a mobile home. You hear where they're running on top of it and jumping off of it. Hear their bang on the side of my mobile home. But when I go look, there's indentions, the indentions, or my mobile home is on a metal frame off the ground, so it's pretty tall. Indentions will be on the top of the mobile home, like dented, where they will pound because they're real tall.
Yeah, they're the ones that we encountered when we were in Wisconsin. We had one of the guys that were with us saw one on his night vision, and then he took the night vision monocular away and he saw it with his naked eye. And it was, we determined that one was 6.5 feet tall, was hunched over a little. He said its eyes appeared blue at night with just the naked eye. His eyes appeared blue, and it had its mouth open. He had his, you could see its teeth and part of its tongue. And he says it was staring at and there was 5 of us there. Me, Mitch, Dave, Ricky, Randy, and me. Yeah, there was, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there was 5 of us. And we left a blind spot. We set up a observation area in the backyard of this house that was being foreclosed on. And we were surrounded on all 4 sides by forest. So we set up in a horseshoe pattern in the backyard, all 5 of us. And the only blind spot we had was behind us, which was the house. And on one side of the house was an outside propane tank. And the only place this thing could have conceivably come in on us was in the blind spot. And guess what? That's exactly what it did. It walked in the blind spot. And my friend, he's Native American, he's Ojibwe. He saw it with he had his scope or his monocular up to his eye, and he saw it with the night vision, and he pulled the scope down, and then he saw it with his naked eye and was standing next to the propane tank between the house and the outside propane tank. And so by the time he came and got me, we walked over there and this thing was gone. And then we did a reenactment. He sort of showed me where it was standing and how it was standing. And I said, we had a man everywhere in the backyard in a horseshoe configuration, all 5 of us. And it came to the spot where nobody was. In a spot, it was our blind spot. It snuck in that way. And he described it as a dog man. And he said it had one ear was up, and the ear on the other side of the head was laid down backwards when he saw it. And it was standing. It had the sort of a wolf-like head, but it was dark like a black Doberman. And he said, and we had a Bigfoot experience too a few days after that. We had a Bigfoot come into camp and walk up behind my tent and push me through my tent and roll me onto my stomach.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a physical encounter I had. And the next morning we all talked about it, and I told the guys what happened, and they were like, one guy said he heard something dragging its like fingernails across the fabric outside his tent. It was standing outside its tent. So we came to the conclusion we had some Bigfoot juveniles in camp, potentially. But that doesn't discount dogman. I'm not saying dogmen aren't capable of doing that. They very well could have been.
Check out this photo here, brother. I wanted to share this with you.
Okay.
It's a video, short reel. I had to lower the speed so you can be able to see them in there.
Wish I could open.
It opens his mouth, shows teeth and everything. There it is. It literally opens his mouth and shows his teeth.
I see it. I see its ear also.
There we go.
Ears. Oh yeah. I can see I can see the teeth.
He's gonna open his mouth right now. Check it out.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I wish I had it on the big screen. I'm looking at it.
If you put it on the TV, you'll be able to see it better. But you could always go to it. I got a bunch of them like of different. I even got the bigger one where I have the actual footage of when I'm walking and everything. But this is just a close up of it. I was trying to get the close up of the face so people can see it.
Yeah, you slowed it down. I can see the shape of its head.
Yeah. Here's another one right here. Look, this is more lighter. See, it's showing teeth there. It's going to open its
I
mouth.
see it. I see the white, and then it starts to open
There
its
you
mouth.
go. Right there.
Yeah.
And what's weirder, brother,
And it has a
is
wolf-like head. I see the ears.
yeah,
I see
yeah.
the snout. I mean, and again, that has its own distinctive look. Like I said, they're not all identical.
It looks like it's got horns too, brother. Right here, looks like horns,
I'm done.
but I might be wrong. I don't know. It looks like it's got horns, but when it lowers it closes its mouth. It doesn't have the horn, so
Right.
I would just say, yeah, it was pissed off, I guess, because I was there in that territory. I think I caught disembodied voice saying "run." It was telling me to run.
That's
That's
crazy.
why I'm thinking. That's why I'm thinking it was a shapeshifter skinwalker. Look at that.
Wow.
And it said something to me in Spanish.
Really?
Yes, it said he called me marranito, which means little pig.
Marinito?
Marranito.
Marianito. Okay.
You know, marrano means pig.
Marano. Yes.
Now, marranito is calling me a little pig, like a baby pig. Marranito.
That's
what they
weird.
call me in Spanish.
It has
Marranito.
language. I always wondered if Dogman had language.
I'm thinking because it's a possible shapeshifter skinwalker.
He could be a
No, but-
skinwalker, so that they would take the shape of a wolf or a Dogman. And I know
But
that's
it's
a
big,
separate
man.
thing.
I think I got the original footage here. How tall it is? Let me find it for you. Since you've been a good host and stuff here. I mean, jumped on, and I think this might be the original footage. Here you go. It's taller than the trees. Look,
Oh yeah. The thing
here it is in the
huge.
background.
That is crazy. The way it's moving.
Yeah. I think this one is where he tells me to run a couple of times in this video here, but I just want to show you the regular footage. It was following. It was tracking me, man. It was following me.
I think you're dealing with a shapeshifter or a skinwalker.
Look how
Too,
big it is.
because I think all my experiences about Dogman, they never have language, and they do make weird sounds. But if this thing has language and it's following you around, I'd almost say that's a skinwalker attitude. An attitude of a skinwalker does that. So I would be very careful.
No, I don't live there no more. I moved out of that area.
Yeah. Generally, they'll try to put a curse on you or do something to get what you have, get a benefit out of whatever you have. That's just a lot of
There it is, right there. It's hiding.
strange.
I just wanted to share it with you, brother.
Yeah, I'm
The
glad I
evidence.
don't live in Indian country. I wouldn't want this around me.
Well, all of Central Texas used to be native land. So look there,
Yeah.
right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
This is before you even went behind the trees, already tracking me. But it looks different. Look right there. There it is, right here.
That's strange. We got something similar going on in Wisconsin because of the native land and around the Great Lakes area. We have sightings of the equivalent, which some people call Wendigo, and also the appearance of what appears to be skinwalkers among the tribes, the Algonquin-speaking tribes of the Great Lakes, the Ojibwe and stuff. They have these creatures that are very nothing to do with Bigfoot, nothing to do with Dogmen. These are very it's witchcraft. I believe it's a form of witchcraft.
Oh yeah, witchcraft and necromancy.
Yeah.
I got to tell you some stories, man. I know it's a lot of witchcraft. The shapeshifter skinwalker. That's what they're about. They do blood sacrifices. Animals wind up missing a certain time of the year. There was like cats and dogs disappearing. There was signs posts every year in the same time frame. There's
people that went missing their animals, cats, dogs. They got pictures, posters of them. I'm looking for my dog, and then I was like, at the park, I will find the tails of the animals, just the tails of a big dog, the tails of a little Chihuahua dog, and I was like, "Where's the body?" They would be just thrown on the ground. I was like,
Well,
what is it?
I think there's a
tails that were-
misunderstanding even regarding the Beast of Bray Road. I think that was a misclassification of some witchcraft going on, because there's a mist associated with that creature. They actually put up game cameras, and they would see a mist float up on a carcass of a dead animal, and then that carcass would disappear, and the mist would disappear. It wasn't a physical creature, and they referred to it as the Beast of Bray Road, which I don't believe is.
Kind of reminded me of the.
It's not a skinwalker. I should say it has something to do with a skinwalker or some kind of.
Was it Edgar Allan Poe or not Edgar Allan Poe? Sherlock Holmes.
You're talking about the
Hounds of Baskerville.
The Hounds of Baskerville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a man that was training. He was training a wild beast to do these killings. Sort of like the
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
The Brotherhood of the Wolf. Yeah, there was some dark stuff going on there too. That was very. And there's also the one about there's a creature in France, which they don't to this day know whether or not if it was a hyena that was kept in captivity that was captured in Africa and brought to France, or if it was some unknown cryptid that was doing all these killings. But this was the creature in France.
Yes, I remember that.
They don't believe that it was not. It was more canine looking in appearance, but someone wanted to say this count had captured a lion and was keeping it in captivity and releasing it. But then, of course, to all the descriptions by witnesses, it was more canine looking. It might have been closer to what I would call a hyena, but it was going out, and it was people were out in the forest picking berries or whatever.
Okay.
And this creature would come along and take them and kill them, and they would find the remains of these people. And the witnesses that were able to escape described it as a creature that should not exist in France.
They never said if they killed it or anything like that.
They tried hunting it down several times, but they never. They killed most of the wolves in the region that were indigenous, but they never found this thing. It's I forget it. It was called the creature of Lupayan or whatever, but it was they never did. They came up with a story later on that there was a count or a member of royalty that went on safaris in Africa, and they believe it captured a wild hyena, maybe a large feline creature, whatever, from India, whatever, and brought it back to his castle, and he released it occasionally, and it would get out and it would kill people. And so they never solved that mystery. They don't know what this creature is to this day. So I guess it would be like, no different than if you got your exotic pet from, which was a Belgian tiger. From
what is it that the one that they supposedly recreated, the dire wolf?
Oh, yes. I mean, and that creature, there's two of them, well, three of them now, living in captivity on, I think it's like 10,000 acres or whatever, up in, is it Montana or Wyoming, where they're keeping them in captivity, but they get bigger than a normal wolf, bigger than a normal timber wolf. Not excessively big, but I could imagine the havoc caused if those ever got out. But man, I should sign off. It's getting late here, Abe, and
I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks
We
for having
appreciate
me on the second time. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Thank you for being on here, and God bless you and your family, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And I'll keep you in my prayers and you stay safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Abe.
So there you go, folks. I hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight. Very interesting topics, and I'm more sure we can talk the night away. It would be good to have him back on. And if he sends me some photos or whatever, I'll be able to share them here with y'all. Whatever he sends me, I'll be able to share with y'all. So long as I have his approval, I'll share the footage that he's got of these things that are out there in the wilderness. I just want to say thank you to everybody that tuned in here tonight. I mean, golly, we almost went 4 hours here. When the talk is good, man, we can talk all night. I remember one time we went like 8 hours one time here. We just kept on talking and talking and talking, and people were tuning in. They said, "Man, I went to sleep, woke up, and you're still alive." But anyways. Yeah, that's normally what happens when we have open mic nights. Tonight was an open mic night. Thursdays we'll have an open mic night. Tomorrow is World Wednesday, or tonight we'll have World Wednesday. It'll be me and cousin Jesse to jump on. And, we talk about things dealing with Werewolf Wednesday. But in saying that, thank you everybody that tuned in. God bless every single one of y'all and your families. Always maintain the Heavenly Love Foundation, brother and sisters. Again, thank you for tuning in and hitting the like button and just being y'all. I was looking at all the conversations on the chat too, keeping the chat busy. That's awesome. Tune in later on tonight. We'll have Werewolf Wednesday, which I'll try to share all the pictures that I have, which seem to be canine-ish or like a werewolf or something of that nature. And saying that, thank you to the moderators. Thank you to the viewers, to new subscribers. God bless you all. See y'all later on tonight. Good night, everybody. This is Brother Axias, Sarncias. And again, thank you for the guest, DS, for jumping on here. Sarncias signing off for Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. Good night, everybody. Have a blessed day. Yeah, Spiritual and DDN Encrypted Encounters.